blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle at the world's northernmost professional club. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the 97-98 Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on a windswept cliff in the Faroe Islands. In Euro 2000 qualifying, Craig Brown's men were taken to fishing village Toftir. Kevin Gallagher called the pitch a cowfield and the wind like Pittodrie on a bad day. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time, leading to these absolute scenes, and still one of Scotland's most embarrassing results.
Daft little ground, silly game.
But away trips don't come any tougher than a lung-busting schlep up the Andes to face Bolivia in La Paz. But now the Bolivians have taken home advantage to another level. The country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Grass doesn't even grow up here. Bolivia have not lost here yet. The longest unbeaten run in any professional league ever belongs to Red Star Belgrade, or Crvena Zvezda if you must. They've gone 7 years without defeat at the Rajko Mitic in Serbia's Superliga. Their fans are pretty intimidating as well, but they're not as loud as this mob. Galatasaray's Ali Sami Yen Stadium's officially the loudest in world football. In a derby with Fenerbahce, Galatasaray fans set a Guinness World Record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead, and pretty tough to carry out your manager's instructions when you can't even hear them. However, our most intimidating away day is in Wales, where cameras can't enter and players can't leave. HMP Prescoed. This prison team was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Early June 1939, Germany, always a tough place to go to.
Good morning, it's Monday, February the 16th, 3 minutes past 6 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark's Real Sale. It's the final day of savings in the UK's biggest used car sale, so do not miss out. I'm Jeff Stelling, and joining us live from Glasgow this morning, Tobias should be very happy after the weekend he's had. Ally McCoist, morning Coisty.
Jeff, a very good morning, and you know something, old son? You've got it spot on. What a weekend of sports. What a weekend of sport, mate. Where are we starting? Where would you like to start?
Well, you can take your pick. Is it Rangers or is it Scotland in the Calcutta Cup? Let's start with the rugby, because I don't know, how is it that the Scots always seem to turn England over?
Do you know something, Jeff? I can't lie to you. I watched the whole game, right, and I was worried because we were poor in Italy. Yes, the conditions were terrible, right. The first thing I'd say was I thought our boys were absolutely tremendous. Finn Russell staying in the wing. I just thought there were some brilliant performances. To balance it out, though, Jeff, I would say there was a lot of things went for us, you know, that went in their favour. Obviously, the yellow and red card went in our favour. The charge down from Ford went in our favour. But boy, I just thought we were tremendous.
There's no need to be magnanimous, Coisty. Just say you stuffed us. End of story.
Do you know something, mate? We stuffed you.
Brilliant.
Great,
And,
mates.
as if that wasn't enough, Rangers twice behind against Hearts came back to win.
Jeff, what a
And-
game, mate.
Oh,
I was there. I went.
Were you there?
Oh, mate,
man.
it was brilliant. The atmosphere was great. And you love it, man. Somebody, Maldy's boy blagged my tickets. He
Yeah.
took my tickets. So I ended up, I was watching a game with a few of the old players. It was great, mate.
Yeah.
It was just good to catch up. And I was there, Big Haitley was there, John Brown, Wee Durant, Gordon Jury. And we all sat and watched the game together. And it was great. And I tell you, Jeff, played well. Played really, really well. Thoroughly deserved the victory. The big fella got a hat-trick. I mentioned to you before, was it last week or the week before, the feeling round about Manchester United? It's just completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Exact same Ibrox. Just the exact same. Completely different vibe.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I tell you what, I mean, I was in Scotland pretty much all of last week.
How did it go?
It was fantastic. I mean, Paisley was great, but it was Inverness and Aberdeen. They were absolutely fantastic. And by the way, that train ride from Glasgow to Inverness is glorious.
It's unbelievable,
so
mate. Is that the first time you've done
beautiful.
it?
Yeah. It was
mate.
fantastic.
Do you know something? I would argue maybe the one in the West Coast is even better.
Yeah.
The one in Inverness is beautiful, no doubt about it. But maybe even the one up to Fort William up that way might be even better, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, absolutely gorgeous, and I can believe that we were severely tempted to go and spend some time in the summer there, because the one downside was it was blooming freezing.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. But the thing about it, in Scotland, I spoke to so many football fans inevitably, and it seemed to me that regardless of your allegiance, you could be a Celtic fan, you could be a Rangers fan, you could be a Hearts fan, you could be an Aberdeen fan.
Yep.
Everyone was just loving the fact
Correct.
that this time you've got a real title race.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Even the drama down at Kilmarnock and early on the Sunday with Celtic 2-0 down at Kilmarnock and getting seemingly Kilmarnock playing exceptionally well. I didn't watch that when I was listening to it, and then coming back and scoring and whenever it was 97th minute again. All that stuff's adding to it. You know what I mean? So to be fair to Celtic, I think that's the last three games they've scored in about two of them have scored in the 97th and one of them in about the 94th. So, they're leaving it late, but they're getting there. And it's funny, Jeff, you know what it's like. Football's amazing. There's a lot of disappointment with Rangers with the draw at Motherwell, which I actually, in the grand scheme of things, didn't think was a bad result. And it was proved again yesterday. Motherwell, comfortable 2-0 victory. I know they scored late on, but another 2-0 victory.
I watched, I didn't see it live, Coisty, that game, the Motherwell Rangers game, but I watched extended highlights because I was in Scotland. And let's be honest, Rangers were played off the park.
Of course
Motherwell was so much the better team.
Jeff, I've said to you, I've gone on record saying to you, I think Motherwell are playing the best football in the country by a distance. It's not even close. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, Motherwell absolutely battered Celtic at Fir Park, beat them 2-0. Hibs beat Hearts at Easter Road. And Rangers go to Easter Road, get a draw, and Motherwell got a draw. And I'm thinking, when you look at it like that, they might not be bad results. I know they're down to 10 men, you want to win the game. So there's everything to play for. Hearts, after the defeat yesterday, are still top of the league. And they'll get one or two injured players coming back. So at this point in the season, it is everything to play for. And you're right. I think the vast majority of people are really enjoying it.
Yeah. Mark has texted, he's so offended he's texted twice, mate, saying exactly the same thing. Not starting with 3 goals in the Olympics, disgraceful. Well, I tell you what, Mark, of course, it was only 2 goals yesterday. I know it's 3 goals overall.
Jeff, I watched it, mate.
It was sensational. Of course it was.
Jeff,
and we'll be talking to 2 of our gold medalists a bit later in the show.
Jeff, do you know something? It was my start to yesterday, Sunday morning. I think the previous Monday I was speaking to you, we were talking about the American girl breaking her leg, which was terrible. Yeah. I got up yesterday morning, sat down, never moved with my cup of tea, and I watched Charlotte Banks and Hugh Nightingale. It was absolutely, on that snowboard, absolutely incredible winning that first. I didn't realise until yesterday it was the first ever gold medal won on snow.
Yeah. And then obviously Matt Weston.
Sensational.
Matt Weston goes on to be the first British Winter Olympian to win two gold medals, which is brilliant. So we'll reflect on that a bit later, Mark, so no need to be quite so offended this early in the morning, eh, pal? But in the meantime, we're going to talk, well, a bit later, I should tell you, we will be taking a closer look at the title race in the Scottish Premiership, and we'll be joined by Scotland's double try scorer, Hugh Jones. I think he's their record try scorer now in Six Nations Championship history after that Calcutta Cup triumph. FA Cup was back this weekend as well. I can put my hands up. I was pretty underwhelmed by it all, with one exception. Mansfield,
Burnley.
Yet again, coming behind to beat Burnley at Turf Moor. Now, here's how all the action sounded live on talkSPORT.
Coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area, still Creek Somerville! 1-0 West Ham! It has taken them 95 minutes. Hammer blow for Burton Albion.
Manchester City 2, Salford 0. Mark Gay's first goal for Manchester City will ease the nerves here at Etihad Stadium. And what a story it is developing here. Burnley 1, Mansfield 2, and wait till you see this goal back. It is an absolute screamer from Louis Reed. The cheers you can hear from one side of Turf Moor, drowning out the boos that you can hear from the home fans.
Deflection on the cross, Newcastle want handball. The referee has a look at it. He's given a free kick here, the referee.
It's a penalty. That should be a penalty.
Tonali with another drive. Oh, what a goal! Newcastle United are into round 5.
Salah earned the penalty. Now he's up against Steele.
Comes forward and smashes it into the corner. Liverpool are on their way through. It's another defeat for Brighton.
4-0 to Arsenal in the 27th minute. They are absolutely rampant here.
Yeah, brilliant for Mansfield. And Martin, who's a Mansfield fan, Stags fan, says, "Morning, Jeff and Ali. It was a surreal moment. For the first time in my 49 years as a Stags fan, watching Mansfield as first game on Match of the Day. I never thought I'd see the day. And to see Oatsy get his own review was great. With all his injuries, no one deserves it more. And another beast mode performance from him. And you know I'm his biggest fan, Martin, so you're absolutely right. And what a strike from Louis Reed. Such a perfect day for Stags fans. And, you know, hooray as well for Mansfield, because without them, it would have been a tedious weekend of FA Cup football. The only game where there was an upset. You can argue Birmingham taking Leeds to penalties. You had the potential to be an upset, and Birmingham played really well. I watched most of that game as well. But generally speaking, everything went with the form, but which is always a bit disappointing. So thank goodness for Mansfield.
Yeah. I was at Anfield Saturday night, Jeff. Liverpool pretty comfortable second half. Some couple of great goals, by the way. I don't know if you've seen them, Jeff. Curtis Jones playing right back. And he, incidentally, he was absolutely terrific. He arrives right in the 6-yard box to finish a lovely cross from Kerkes. So left back cross for the right back to score, and then Szoboszlai scored an absolute peach of a goal, Jeff. Beautiful switch of play. A lovely overlap from Kerkes, takes the defender back. Switch of play from Gakpo. Salah one touch and a strike. It was just a beautiful goal. I don't know if you've seen it. If you didn't, you need to get a look at it. Szoboszlai, one of the goals of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with Brighton were not alone. I just looked at the team that they played, and immediately I thought to myself that there's probably not going to be. Well, it wouldn't be an upset if Brighton won at Liverpool, because you know they've beaten all the big clubs and do it on a regular basis. But
just surprised I didn't see Welbeck at all, Jeff. That was one of the big surprises for me.
To me, I know the pressure is growing on Fabian Hürzeler, but I just get a little bit bewildered by some of his team selections, to say the least. So you know, look. Mansfield saved the day. Macclesfield tonight, of course.
Yes.
You know, we've got one Premier League scalp already. Can they do it again against Brentford? We'll be talking to the Mansfield owner a bit later on. Nigel Clough will be with us just after 8 o'clock this morning, so stay tuned to talkSPORT Breakfast. Some sensational guests coming up. But coming up in the more immediate future, we'll turn our attention to the back pages, and a lot of it is about the goals for GB in Milan.
Speaking on the Overlap Stick to Football podcast, and Postecoglou criticised Tottenham's transfer strategy while claiming his former side are not a big club in the wake of Thomas Frank's sacking.
You know, when you walk into Tottenham, what you see everywhere is to dare is to do. It's everywhere. And yet their actions are almost the antithesis of that. Right. It's a real curious in terms of understanding what are they trying to build? You know, what are they? Is it... There's obviously, they've built an unbelievable stadium, unbelievable training facilities. But when you look at the expenditure, particularly, you know, in their wages structure, they're not a big club. I saw that because when we were trying to sign players, we weren't in the market for those players. It's just who we are, mate.
Oh my God. To dare is to do. What do you lot do? You do nothing. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, look.
What do you do? What do you do? Do you dare?
Well, we're not doing, are
we? Do you dare? And then once you've dared, do you do doing?
Well, we're not doing it at the moment, are we?
Are you daring?
Well, we dared, and we won the Europa League.
And are you still doing it?
No. But I'm so sick of talking about Tottenham. I mean, look.
It's your job.
No, I know, but it's just like, you know.
It's not my fault, is it?
Ex-manager coming on.
Don't start having a pop at me.
It was absolutely garbage in the Premier League. All right, he won the Europa League, but, you know, got a 0% win ratio in the Premier League at Nottingham Forest. Didn't want to mention that on Stick to Football, did he? So.
What do you mean?
DJ Ed, great choice.
Yes.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, who's with me. As you know, and I know you know, it's Duran Duran. We're playing it because Andy Taylor, lead guitarist, is 65 today. Wow. Duran Duran, Coisty. I don't need to ask you this. Well, everybody did, didn't they?
Yes.
You know what? I was looking at their success rate, their strike rate, if you like. In the UK, 30 top 40 singles. I mean, that puts them absolutely, not just in the superstar bracket, but right at the top of that bracket, doesn't it?
But I'm loath to start a conversation you hear, but it puts them right up with Foreigner. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, did they have 3?
No, there's no getting away from it. I love Duran Duran. I think their first of the 30 might have been Planet Earth. There you are. Back in whatever it was. And it was a brilliant song. And after that, they just did... I mean, the Rio... The video was legendary, wasn't it? That was the one with the yacht out and
that was Caribbean. Fantastic.
But they've just had so many great songs. And
I was thinking, and then you think, what's my favourite? And I'm thinking Hungry Like the Wolf or Wild Boys or Save a Prayer or The Reflex, and it just goes on and on and on.
You're right.
Absolutely sensational. Sensational.
Do you know, some of you asked me my favourite one? I might even go for Girls on Film.
Yeah, Girls on Film was brilliant as well, but I think either Rio or Save a Prayer for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andy Taylor, 65 today.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy birthday, Andy. It is 20 past 6 on Monday, February the 16th. Time for a look at the morning's papers.
Back page review on talkSPORT.
Angelina Kelly is with us in the studio. Morning, Angelina.
Good morning, Angelina.
Good morning. I mean, we've got to kick things off with the Winter Olympics.
Yep.
Yes.
Champagne on ice has been one of the headlines as Team GB popped the champagne after their greatest day in 102 years of the Winter Olympics. So, of course, super skeleton slider Matt Weston is a double Olympic champion. He stormed to victory in the inaugural mixed team event with Tabby Stoker. Charlotte Banks and Hugh Nightingale won Britain's first ever gold on snow, claiming snowboard cross mixed glory. So massive, massive weekend. Ali, the main question everyone's got is for you. Has the Olympics inspired you to take up anything? I'm thinking the skeleton. Could we see you training? Could we see you commentating maybe?
Hey,
have you been enjoying it?
I'm telling you, and this might make you smile. Back in the day, that's what we used to do. When the snow came, and there was plenty of it where I came from in East Kilbride, plenty of it, we used to get the old tray out. Remember the old baking tray? And that's what we used to get down. I swear to God, up at the school, up at the massive big hill up on Hunter High School, Angelina, we all used to go up there. You get the wee tray, you know the kind of tray that they take your drinks from in the pub, and you plank your backside on it, and away you went down, because if you didn't have a sledge, that was what you did. I've got to say to you, Angela, I watched it.
You've got it in your locker then, is what you're saying.
It's in the locker. It's in the locker. I don't know if we've with fancy being my mixed doubles partner though, Jeff. That's the problem.
Look, it's a brilliant TV spectacle. Oh, brilliant TV spectacle. I mean, I love all the snowboarding stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. I was scratching my head though. You know, Matt Weston, he comes from Tunbridge Wells. Do they get extra cold winters there or something?
It's amazing though.
I mean, how did he get into that?
I know.
We'll ask him later on because he's live on the breakfast show this morning, so we'll ask him
exactly
a bit later on. But no, it was a brilliant day as far as the Brits are concerned. But whether they are British winners or not, I do think as a spectacle, it's fantastic.
It is. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. There's nothing quite like it. And there's been a lot of stories. The Canadian curler who is at the centre of a cheating row. So this has been kicking off because Canada's Mark Kennedy was apparently double touching the stone on the penultimate end, which led to Kennedy.
Allegedly, I think we should say.
Yes, allegedly, yes. So, you know, he's not happy about this. I mean, the fact that Canada are getting done for cheating, I mean, you couldn't write it, could you?
I know. I watched it and I saw an article on it, and you could see it, man. The Swedish boys, I mean, they really weren't happy. Do you know what I mean? Not knowing enough about it, I wouldn't really like to give you I couldn't give you a qualified opinion on it. But do you know what it does, Jeff? It just adds to it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Curling has never been surely involved in such controversy.
I know.
Well, I can tell you right now, if we're having a conversation this Monday morning and said there's some controversy involving the curling, you thought right away the Scots would have been involved, didn't you? Let's be honest.
Also in the back page, of course, it's all about VAR. A lot of conversation after the weekend. No VAR in the FA Cup until the 5th round. Newcastle's win over Aston Villa, that is the main talking point, of course. Jeff, when you see some of the errors that went on this weekend, does it feel like the technology has maybe made referees over-reliant on it?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah. I mean, Chris Kavanagh's taking a lot of stick here. I'll point the finger at his assistants instead, because, you know, their efforts were, you know, shameful, really. And I'm quite sure if you go right from the first goal, the Tammy Abraham goal, it's clearly offside, put your flag up. But, of course, they are taught not to do that in the Premier League. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure in the back of their minds they're thinking, oh, VAR will come in and tell us whether I was right or wrong here. No, it won't. Put your flag up. You know, I mean, I think Chris Kavanagh should have been able to see himself that the handball was inside the box. But the assistants certainly should have done. I mean, I think that VAR has meant that actually levels of officiating now are probably at the lowest that they've ever been in this country.
And it seems like the grass is always greener on the other side as well, because when we have the VAR, everyone wants rid of it. But then you have a game like that, and without it, it looks a bit farcical because everyone in the stadium, everyone watching on TV knows that the referee has made a mistake other than the officials. And the back page of The Sun, the headline says, red card, ref's boss Webb has to go. Is he under pressure at this point?
I think the pressure's coming upon him all the time, to be brutally honest with you. But I'm with Jeff. I think the referees, I don't care what anybody says, I think the referees are refereeing the game completely differently nowadays than they would without VAR. Because at the back of their heads, they've got the knowledge that if they get something wrong, then there's somebody down at Stockley Park will tell them they've got it wrong, and that wrong will be righted. So they're not refereeing the game. Even the natural, and I don't care when they say it is a natural thing for a linesman, offside, your natural thing to put the flag up. He's now asking to do something that's unnatural to him, and that's keep the flag down. So that the games are without doubt been refereed differently, and they're also been refereed by VAR.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Alan Shearer said it. He said, if you ever needed evidence of the damage VAR has done to referees, this is a great example. I think it is worth bearing in mind, by the way, because there'll be a massive lobby to say, VAR, well, we've just shown what a good thing it is and that. But most of the games passed without incident.
Yes.
And also, even Eddie Howe said, the game is clearly better as a spectacle without VAR.
Correct.
He went on to say, just to balance it, it does give more accurate results. So that's what is more important to you. That's what the question is, really, is it the fact that football as a spectacle is better without VAR, or is it more important to get the minutiae, as it is at times, correct through VAR? Difficult one, isn't it? But for me, I still prefer the games without VAR.
So do I.
Yeah.
Angelina, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Angelina.
Text in here saying, listening to you pair this morning discussing Duran is like Hinge and Brackett talking pick of the pops. Priceless. Keep it up, fellas. Oh, I think you can guarantee we will. It's very nearly 6:28. Up next, we'll ask the question, is the Scottish title race a sign of things to come in the future?
Alex Cook has been crowing about this for the last 24 hours because, of course, this has been his motto. He said, I felt like Tottenham was saying, we're one of the big boys, and the reality is, I don't think they are.
Well, it's interesting. If I've been saying that in an Australian accent and holding up the Europa League trophy for the past 6 months, maybe Tottenham fans might believe me a bit more, because he's their hero, isn't he? Despite the fact he finished 17th last season. And he's right. He said all the things that I've been saying. They're a big club in terms of the training ground is fantastic. The stadium is the best in the Premier League, if not the best in Europe. But they're not a big club in terms of trophies won, in terms of global fan base, when you compare them to the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United and Arsenal, especially now that Son is not there anymore, because that did open up all kinds of avenues for them. And they're not a big club in terms of the transfer fees they pay, because Dominic Solanke is still their record signing at £65 million. And they're not a big club in terms of the wages.
Well, actually, that does make them a big club in world football, because there's not many clubs that play that sort of money for players. Most of them are in the Premier League
club, though.
But wages is a big problem.
Yeah, but they're not paying pennies here. Like, what we're talking about here, maybe they don't pay £300,000 a week, but I can imagine some of the Spurs players are on close to 200. I would imagine so.
Well, they certainly shouldn't have a wage bill. Their wage bill is not 17th, 16th in the Premier League, is it? There's no way that can be the case.
No, but I also think what Ange was saying was that when he finished fifth in his first season,
we should be going.
But that was an overachievement, really, when you look at where Tottenham have been in the Premier League era. I know they had a few golden years under Mauricio Pochettino, but they're not an established top four team. They're not.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media, and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earn 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark's Real Sale. It's your last chance to save big on your next car. The sale ends today. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Dan says you two are a joke. The weekend highlights, there was only one for me. Ali's commentary on the Brighton fan wearing the seagull hat. Tops
Jeff.
the lot.
Jeff, tell me you've seen it.
I didn't see it.
There was a guy, Jeff, I promise you, he had a big seagull's head on, right? Now, he did not take it off the entire game. He was sitting, it looked like he was sitting with his son, and he didn't say a word to his son, right, the whole 90 minutes. The poor lad was sitting there with a packet of crisps. His old man, listen, do you know something? I'm taking it was his old man. It might have been his mum. We don't know what it was. But he had this big seagull's head on. It was just hilarious. It made my weekend, Jeff.
I love it. Look, the reason I didn't see it, Coisty, of course, as well, is, and when people complain about FA Cup attendances, let them just take a look at the kick-off times.
Yeah.
8 o'clock Saturday night. It's an 8 o'clock Saturday night game. I'm not watching football 8 o'clock Saturday nights. And for Brighton fans, what time would they have got home? It's 5 hours probably driving from Liverpool, especially with half the motorways in the country closed at night. You know, they won't have got home until 3 o'clock in the morning. Shameful once again that fans are the last ones to be considered in all of this. All right, this morning we're going to take a look at the Scotland Premiership title race, and what a title race it is. I think it goes without question. It's the best ever, certainly the most wide open ever. If you look at the situation now, Hearts 57, Rangers 55, Celtic 54, one game in hand, of course. Even Motherwell, you might make an argument that they could yet get involved with the run that they're on at the moment. Whatever, they've certainly had a brilliant season. And having been there last week, Coisty, as I mentioned, everybody seems to be absolutely loving it. This has to be phenomenally good for the game in Scotland, doesn't it? However it turns out.
Excuse me, Jeff, yes. Absolutely no doubt about it. The drama, everything. Hearts have been the story, deservedly so. I mean, the wee boy Braga again scored another great goal against Rangers, the header. Lovely finish from him. You can argue about the defending, but take nothing away. Brilliant header. He's been a terrific signing. There's no getting away from it. They're missing a couple of players. That said, they're still the late winners against, Hibs in the 88th minute, both home games, I think. The big centre-back. Halkett got one early on this season, and they got another one in the 88th minute against their rivals. They're playing really, really well. There's no getting away from it. Celtic, with Martin, as you would expect, Jeff, without being brilliant, by the way, they're anything but brilliant, but they're a different proposition. They keep going. As I said, late winners against Dundee in the Cup. Well, a late equaliser against Dundee in the Cup to take it to extra time. And late winners in their home game against Livingston, and obviously done at Kilmarnock, 97th minute. Rangers, for them, I think they've had one. It's been terrific, Jeff. It really has. I mean, Danny Rowe has got them playing exceptionally well. I think they've only had one defeat since he came, or certainly they've only had 2 defeats in 27 games in the league, which is remarkable from where they were. I mean, I think they were sitting third bottom at one time when he came. So the transformation, with Rangers under Danny Rowe has been exceptional. And I'll say it again, and you mentioned them, Motherwell, under the Danish coach Askau has been absolutely tremendous. They are, without doubt, Jeff, in my opinion, playing the best football. They're easy on the eye, they're knocking it about, and they're getting results. You're right, they're definitely worth a mention. I think it'd be too much for them. I mean, at this moment in time, they're 10 points off Hearts. They're only 7 off Celtic, I think. But I can guarantee you, Jeff, they'll take points, as they've continued to do recently, off all the 3 teams above them. They might not win it, but I think they'll have a big say who wins it. The wonderful thing in it, excuse me again, and it is a wonderful thing, Jeff. We've got the break as well with the split, so that you play each other the last period of the season. Boy, is that going to be exciting, mate.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, what a break. Because in the first time in a long time, you look at Livingston, are sitting 12th in the league. Very unlucky not to get a draw at Celtic Park. St Mirren have won the Cup. They're sitting 2 places above them. They won the League Cup, deservedly so, beat Celtic comfortably in the final. Kilmarnock had a bit of a revival with Neil McCann going down there. I mean, really unlucky again not to get anything. Dundee, I think I've already beaten Celtic at home. Unlucky not getting at Ibrox. Dundee United beating Celtic at home. Hibs, Falkirk, I told you, the story about Falkirk's been remarkable. So to be talking about Scottish football like this, it gives us all a real boost, and I'm just delighted. And top all that, Jeff, we've got the World Cup to look forward to as well. So we're flying, loving it.
Let's look at the top 3 in order as they stand at the moment, briefly, Coisty. Hearts, top of the pile at the moment. OK, lost at the weekend. And obviously, they've had an absolutely wonderful season. There are 2 ways, I think, are looking at this. Whether their lack of experience in terms of title races might tell on them, on the run-in. But equally, and on the other hand, 4 of their next 6 games are at home, and their home record has been superb. And by the way, in the time that Hearts have got 6 games to play, Celtic have a minimum of 10.
Correct.
And I just wonder how that will play out. I mean, are Hearts still in pole position? Obviously, in terms of just simply looking at the table, they are. But in terms of favouritism, would you say they're still in pole position?
Excuse me, I just look at it, Jeff, and I find it really difficult to split the 3 of them. And it's not a cop-out. It's how I see it, Jeff. It really, really is. Hearts, as I said, they miss Cammy Devlin, and they definitely miss Lawrence Shanklin, right? Because Shanklin, intelligent, probably maybe the best finisher in the league. Claudio Braga's come in and has done exceptionally well, but he's definitely missing Shanklin. And they've changed the way they play. Xeridis has come in and done exceptionally well. Cammy Devlin in the middle of the park's a big miss. They're really solid. I think they've got a good goalkeeper. I keep going on about the two centre-backs. The two centre-backs are solid citizens, Finlay and Halkett. They'll keep going. They will keep going. But I'm not sure, if they get any more injuries, it could really affect them. I don't think they've got the backup that perhaps Rangers and Celtic have. That's the only thing I would say. However, Derek's interview after the game was excellent, as you'd expect. It was excellent. It was nothing but positivity. There was of course there was a disappointment at losing the fixture at Ibrox yesterday, but it was nothing but positivity about his team, and they knocked it about reasonably well. They did. I mean, and you got to remember this well. Okay, they get beat, but they've gone to Ibrox and scored a couple of goals. Jeff, I think that's the first time, and the partners will tell me if I'm right or wrong, I think that's the first time in 6 games this season that Hearts have lost to either Rangers or Celtic.
Yeah. And, of course, Rangers and Celtic meet on March the 1st, so somebody is going to drop points there, which also goes in Hearts' favour. From a Rangers perspective, look, Danny Röhl, wonderful job. 13 points behind Hearts when he took over, and look at where they are now. I mentioned that Motherwell game, which showed they can throw one in like that. In a lot of respects, you would say they were in pole position, but Danny Röhl has not been in this position before either. Yeah. And I would also argue that Chamiti got the hat-trick at the weekend. But before that, he'd scored 4 in 28 for Rangers. He hadn't scored for Everton. And there's a suggestion that hat-trick might be a flash in the pan, and he may not be the regular goal scorer they need in weeks to come. And I know before that game, plenty of Rangers fans were thinking just that.
Oh, yeah, with some justification. I tell you what, he does look at this moment in time. He looks as though he might be a big occasion player, because he scored 2 of his goals that he'd previously scored, Jeff, were at Celtic Park when Rangers went to Celtic Park and won the game comfortably. So, but I do take your point, absolutely, because I watch him myself, and some of the things I do, I'm scratching my head myself. However, I watched him yesterday. he just looks a different level. I think he's going to be one of these guys, Jeff, and every club and every supporter's had them over the years, where they do things, particularly centre forwards, they'll do things that'll baffle you, have you scratching your head, and then the next minute they'll fire one into the top corner. He looks as though he might be one of those guys, because he scored a hat-trick yesterday, but his all-round play was a lot better as well.
Yeah,
I like the other side in centre-back, Nadiri. He looks, centre forward, I beg your pardon. I thought he looked the part, and I think he's going to be a good player. And a couple of the signings have been very, very good. I mean, Chuck Wani in the middle of the park, impressive. But the star of the show for me so far is the left fullback, Romans, who's come in and I think looked exceptional. So I think for the first time in a long time, I think, and it is very early in the Rangers' career, of course it is, but you can only comment on what you've seen so far. The new signings look as though they're, of a better standard, let's say, than they have been recently. But Danny Röhl, he's gone about the job really well, Jeff, I've got to say, and he's been a breath of fresh air. The Rangers fans, correctly have really taken to him. He's got an influence about him. The first thing that's happened is when he came into the club, somebody's got a hold of him within the club and told him, or pointed him in the direction of how things should be handled, and what should, not so much what should be said, but what's expected, from a Rangers manager, and he's handling it at this moment in time very, very well.
Coisty, as far as Celtic are concerned, even Martin O'Neill said, you mentioned the late goals, even Martin O'Neill said it can't go on like this, you can't keep winning games like this. He said it's having a draining effect on him as well. Of course, we talked about Hearts losing Shankland, should be back at the end of March or towards the end of March.
Yes.
Celtic have lost Engels, who's a massive player for them, for 6 weeks or so. I mean, I said they can't keep doing it, but of course, famously, Manchester United did keep doing it under Sir Alex in Fergie times. So, how do you see the Celtic challenge at the moment?
Reliant on late goals, and I'm of the opinion although you tell me Manchester United do it, you can't keep doing that. You cannot keep relying on late goals, Jeff. But that said, they have done, and they're winning games of football, which is the most important thing. Engels is a key player for them, so he's scored some good goals. The big miss, I don't care what anybody says, the big miss is, for me, Carter Vickers at the centre of defence, and obviously Alistair Johnson is missing as well. Carter Vickers, I think, the centre half gives him more of a calming influence. You look at the Celtic team just now, and it doesn't really scare you, to be honest with you at all, Jeff. You know, the Old Firm games will look after themselves, but I would be, if I was a Celtic supporter, I'd be obviously delighted at the late goals, but slightly concerned.
Yeah. One thing is for sure, it's a brilliant season. I tell you what, Coisty, let's hope it's not a one-off season.
Yeah,
let's hope that from now on it's more competitive up in
Jeff,
Scotland.
I mentioned, and I'll mention again, I want to give an honourable mention to Falkirk. Last couple of seasons, John McGlynn, what a job, brilliant. And then he's got, and you got to remember, Jeff, Falkirk went to Hearts, and you're right about saying Hearts have got full home games, and their home form's been excellent. But Falkirk went there and knocked them out of the cup.
Yeah.
So Falkirk are more than capable of getting the result.
It's been a brilliant season, no question. Right, still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
It's almost time for Ali and I to enter our weekly VAR therapy session with former top-level referee Chris Foy. Morning to you, Chris. You looking forward to it? We'll also speak later to Team GB skeleton gold medalists Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker. So stay tuned for that after 9. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Go! Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Let's go to Alan, who's a Man City fan, right, Al?
Yes, good evening. I've got a little song for you at the end for the Arsenal fans as well. But do you know what, Arsenal? Man City are a snake, and they've had their foot on our necks where we've been weak, and they should have cut our heads off and buried us in the sand, and they've not. And now we're going to come back and beat them, and we're going to win this title. And in a couple of weeks after we play them at the Etihad, when we give them a footballing lesson, you can ring me up and I'll come on the show again, because Man City are a better team to watch than what Arsenal are. And he's coming on. The Premier League trophy's coming back to the Etihad. And listening to these Arsenal fans tonight, we are right in there, then. All the memories of all the years previous are all coming flooding back. And we're going to win the league. And I'll give you my song now.
Go on in. Is it clean?
Crumbling again, ole, ole. Crumbling again, ole, ole. Crumbling again. Crumbling again. Crumbling again, ole, ole. Can't wait to sing that.
All right, Al, listen, Man City fans are... if they're listening to the show tonight, Man City fans, I think they'll be thinking...
Do you know what it does do, though?
Tell you what,
it gives us... We have got a proper title race.
Yeah.
A proper title race. It's not a bad point for Arsenal. I still don't think Man City are quite the Man City that we've seen win a title.
No, but
they could do. They could.
They look all right. They're looking all right. You know, Diaz, Gay at the back again. O'Reilly, fantastic. Nunes has played all right.
Mate.
Rodri, you know.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. A couple of people suggested the same thing as far as VAR is concerned. Connell puts it particularly succinctly. He says, morning lads, the solution to the problems with VAR is reducing its footprint. No unsolicited interference. Both teams to have 2 reviews per game, reinstated if successful. Referee unlimited access to reviews. Marginal decisions remain with the on-field call. Teams to be monitored for frivolous reviews, likely at the end of games, and punished for repeat offences by having reviews reduced to 1 per game for a set period. Really interesting suggestion, Connell. And Pete in Bristol, by the way, suggests a similar thing, the challenge system like they use in Hawkeye in tennis. Right, what else do we know this Monday morning? Team GB made history. They won 2 Winter Olympic golds in one day. Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker clinching the mixed teams skeleton gold. It's 2 golds for Matt Weston in a single Olympic Games. My word, what an achievement for him. France are the only side who could win the Grand Slam in the Six Nations, and they kept those hopes alive with a hammering of Wales by 54 points to 12. And Burnley are out of the FA Cup, beaten by League One side Mansfield, who came from behind to dump Scott Parker's team out. Parker admitted the noise surrounding his future will only get louder after another damaging defeat.
Yeah, it's right up there, mate. Yeah, definitely right up there. Obviously, you don't want to be... The FA Cup can bring surprises, and you never want to be that team. And you've seen it throughout this year, this competition. Other teams going out to lower league. So yeah, it's a tough one, and certainly even more so after felt like the momentum we had after midweek as well. It makes it even more disappointing. I think that's the most frustrating thing, really. You come out of a positive result against Crystal Palace, noise dies down a little bit in terms of the general noise around the place, and obviously the result today increases that noise again, and so that was disappointing. We came into the game wanting to win it, of course, and we should have won it. But if you don't put your chance away what we create today, then you can be on the end of a bad result, and that was the case.
And you can be on the end of a bad result if you make 9 changes to your team going into an FA Cup tie.
Yeah.
Has he only got himself to blame in terms of that defeat?
Well, in terms of the team selection, yeah, you can see he's probably thinking he's got to think he's still got a slight chance of survival, and that's the only reason I can think of picking that side.
And I get that, Coisty, but they haven't got any midweek games. He's got a full week till his next Premier League game.
I'm with you. No matter who it is, whether it's Scott Parker or any of the top managers, if you don't pick your strongest side, you can make 1 or 2 changes. You don't pick your strongest side, you leave yourself wide open to criticism, and it's justified.
Yeah, obviously his position already in question, you would say, but obviously the win at Crystal Palace has given him a tiny little bit of breathing space. Will they stand by him till the end of the season, come what may, in your opinion?
Well, I'll ask you the question. And I'll answer it myself. Would you have him as your manager in the Championship again next season? You probably would. That's where I'm with it. I don't think where Burnley are doesn't surprise me, Jeff. To be brutally honest with you, where Sunderland are surprises me, but where Burnley are hasn't really surprised me. And if Burnley go down, which it looks as though they will go down, even regardless of that fantastic result at Crystal Palace, 2-0 down to 3-2. If Burnley were in the Championship and I expect them to play their football there next year, I think Scott Parker would be a good manager to get them back up. I know it's weird as it may sound.
I completely agree with you. I just wonder what impact fan pressure might have on the ownership between now and the end of the season. Because you can see them turning on Scotty.
Of course you can. There's clubs, and Brighton would be another one. I would include into it. You can sense it. You can feel, the crowd swelling against the coach and against the manager. And I think those 2 clubs, I can certainly sense it. I thought Brighton, for example, knocked the ball about reasonably well in patches, but you can tell there's just a feeling amongst the support of Brighton. I think the feeling, Burnley amongst the fans is very much the same.
Yeah. A bitterly disappointing day for them, but thank goodness as far as the FA Cup is concerned for Mansfield. Couple of great goals. Rhys Oates' header was absolutely magnificent. And then that Louis Reed free kick, and we will be talking to Nigel Clough, who I was wondering, by the way, after the game, I was wondering why he didn't do any of the after-match stuff, and his assistant did it instead. I thought, well, what's happened? You know, there's some reason that he's not happy with things, but he's lost his voice through shouting so much during the course of the game. That was all it was. I've got a personal question for you, Coisty.
Let's go.
From Steve the Owl.
Yep.
He said, Ali, just wondering if you managed to enjoy Valentine's Day with wee Viv due to your action-packed sport scheduled, whether you enjoyed a breakfast together, holding hands, watching the Cricket World Cup.
Very good. It was very much a Valentine's breakfast, Steve. Thanks very much for asking. Without the World Cup and the cricket, we drew the line there, mate.
Brilliant, Steve. Thank you very much indeed for that. 6:58. It is Monday, February the 16th. Coming up, we'll turn our attention. I always dread doing this. To the officiating disaster at Villa Park on Saturday. Former Premier League referee Mark Alsey has said, it's time for referees boss Howard Webb to go. Have things really got that bad? Is Webb the man to carry the can? We'll discuss that next with the former top referee Chris Foy.
Labour MP, they say, listen, Keir, your position is untenable. This is all about appointing that rat, Peter Mandelson.
We've now had another resignation from number 10. The plot is thickening, the noose is tightening.
His failings are internal. He's useless, incompetent, has no political judgment.
This is all part of Starmer's reset, getting rid of his inner circle. So Chris Wormold, we think fairly reluctantly, has stepped down.
What an absolutely crazy week for Keir Starmer. His second cabinet secretary, gone. His third chief of staff, gone. His fourth director of communications, gone.
Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Good morning, almost 7:05. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. The UK's biggest used car sale ends today. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. On the way for you this morning, the Macclesfield owner Rob Smethurst will join us ahead of today's huge FA Cup clash against Premier League Brentford. Of course, the game is live on talkSPORT. Mansfield manager Nigel Clough will be on just after 8, telling us how he masterminded the giant Premier League side Burnley. And listen up, Coisty, Scotland centre Hugh Jones will be with us to discuss their brilliant victory over England in the Calcutta Cup at the weekend. All that and more to come. Joe in London has summed up the next segment for us. He said, it's Monday morning, it's raining, I'm stuck in traffic, and now Chris Foy's coming on. Great. Hope he doesn't take that to heart. Look, I mean, the reason Chris is on, he's a regular contributor, of course. VAR is bang in the spotlight, and so is officiating in general. Newcastle, whose performance, by the way, has been almost overlooked against Aston Villa because they were excellent. They won by 3-1, but VAR in the spotlight. A clear offside goal missed, clear red card missed, and a clear Digne handball inside the penalty area missed by referee Chris Kavanagh and his team. Here's how that controversy sounded on talkSPORT.
Kieran Trippier, they're queuing up in the middle, deflection on the cross, Newcastle want handball, the referee has a look at it, and in the end, has he given a goal kick here, the referee? Much to Newcastle's displeasure. Eddie Howe cannot believe it.
He's at least a yard inside the box. That should be a penalty.
We have to improve the standards, but we can't use VAR to forensically examine everything.
These are supposed to be top Premier League, the best refs in our league, and you get a mistake like that.
Yeah, I mean, that specific incident, Kieran Trippier's cross handled by Lucas Digne way inside the box. Chris Kavanagh decided it was a free kick outside the box, clearly not helped by his assistants, who, by the way, Gary Boswell and Nick Greenhag were very, very experienced assistants as well, with bags of Premier League experience. So the referee not helped out by his assistants on that occasion. Former Premier League ref Mark Halsey had his say. He's called for Howard Webb to go. He says Howard's had 3 years in the role. It's not been good enough. Everyone has a shelf life. The time for him to move on has come. I speak to Premier League managers, and I know they are not happy with him. Joining us now for a little more on this and to tell us just where VAR and officiating goes from here, it's former Premier League referee Chris Foy. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, guys. I am in work, and yes, it is raining.
Well, look, Chris, let's start with that comment from Mark Halsey. Does the blame for this lie with Howard Webb?
No, I disagree. I work with Howard domestically, and I work with him internationally, and he's been in PGMOL now, I think, for 2.5 seasons, possibly coming up to 3. Knowing him as I do, I don't know anybody that works as hard. He's totally committed to what he does. He goes above and beyond. He's tireless. He just doesn't stop. He works really hard to get the best out of his match officials.
Chris, tell me, mate, regarding VAR, do you accept that referees and officials are officiating games completely differently now than they would pre-VAR? In terms of them, to qualify, to perhaps make the question more understandable, what I'm saying is, and it's a natural thing to do, Chris, they are not making spur of the moment decisions like they normally would.
No, do you know what, Ali? I don't think they do. I think all the spotlight at weekend has come on this game, Aston Villa, where everything that was probably controversial about the weekend all revolved around this one fixture. I think you were saying earlier on that it was a fairly quiet weekend in relation to the FA Cup. But we've just seen a number of poor decisions in one match that has highlighted the question you've asked. But I don't see that. I think that what we're talking about here is, with good on-field decision-making, we make the VAR redundant.
Yeah, but I get that. And I think you're right, Chris. The majority of games over the weekend passed without incident. But how would you explain the assistant not putting the flag up for Tammy Abraham's first goal? How do you explain the assistant not advising Chris Kavanagh, who should have seen it himself, that the handball from Lucas Digne was inside the box? Isn't it that, particularly in the case of assistants, that VAR has rendered them almost incapable of making decisions? They're just there to be decorative and, give throw-ins.
No, because what you've got to understand is, in the select group, or the Premier League referees, there are 19 referees, a number of assistants. They're full-time, and there's only 10 Premier League games a week, so they're operating in the Championship, League One, League Two, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and they're there to do a job. What we're talking about here, Jeff, is 2 decisions that were poorly judged on by the match officials. The offside is offside. It's a poor call by the assistant, and the handball, again, is another poor decision on field that should have been spotted.
Sorry, Ali, what I don't get is how you explain that. Look, I mean, I looked at I don't know who gave them. Gary Bezic, one of the assistants, experienced Premier League assistant, not just actually experienced Premier League. He's he's assisted in the Euros. He's taken FA Cup finals. The other guy, Nick Greenhag, more than 100 Premier League games. How could they get that so horrendously wrong? And I know, of course, you've got to expect human error, but error that significant?
Yeah, they're poor decisions. I think if you look at the Luca Dean handball, Chris Kavanagh sees the handball and detects it, and then you can see he's actually looking across at the assistant to help him. The fly in the ointment for this one with me was that Luca Dean is in the penalty area. At no point is he near the markings at the edge of the penalty area. He doesn't move. It's just a poor decision, Jeff, and one that they've got to reflect on and work out. How did we get this so wrong?
Chris, tell me, where are you on it? Because, and obviously there's nothing you guys can do about this, but I just want to know your opinion on it. I'm of the opinion that you should not have different equipment for a cup competition at some games and not at others. And you know the point I'm trying to make. I just think it makes a little bit, not a total mockery, but a little bit of mockery of the FA Cup, where you can have VAR at some games, but because some stadiums can't have it, they can't have. I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Obviously, at the weekend, there was some really high-profile matches, wasn't there? Grimsby, Stoke and Birmingham, where there was no VAR. And, of course, you would have had teams from the Football League who were playing on Premier League grounds where in the next round of the competition there probably was. I think it comes down to cost, obviously the competition and the infrastructure that goes into some of these grounds that you've got to understand. Whether it will come in the next round, I think it does come into the next round. But you make a fair point, Ali, yeah.
Chris, look, I guess most of us would probably accept that VAR is here to stay. But is there a case of taking a look for how it is used? And I'm going to repeat a text we had earlier on this morning. Connell says the solution to the problems with VAR is reducing its footprint. No unsolicited interference. Both teams have 2 reviews per game. Reinstated if successful. Referee has unlimited access to reviews. Marginal decisions remain with on-field call. Teams to be monitored for frivolous reviews, likely at the end of the game, and punished for repeat offences by having reviews reduced to 1 a game for a certain period. Now, I'm not saying that would be the exact blueprint, but isn't there a case for looking at how VAR is impacting our game and maybe changing the way we incorporate it into the game?
I think the thing is with VAR, Jeff, everybody has an opinion on it, and I have my opinion as well. I think what we have to do is to stress that it's not there to re-referee, it's not there to forensically examine. That's not what we want.
But games are being re-refereed, Chris. You see it week after week after week. You see it week after week where the VAR official has interfered and the referee is forced to go and make a decision. We talked about it endlessly the other week, didn't we, in the Manchester City game? The games are being re-refereed.
I think what we're talking about here, Jeff, is offside decisions, and we've got to really emphasise this clear and obvious. I use the word howler. It's this one that stands out where everybody goes, that's wrong. And I think some really good examples here at weekend. If you look at Chris Kavanagh sending the goalkeeper off for Villa, red card. If there had been a VAR on that game, it's a quick check and away you go because it's the right decision. I think if we'd have had VAR quite clearly, we'd have given a penalty, and that wouldn't have taken too long. But sometimes checks do take time. You've only got to look in the week. There was a VAR check in La Liga. I think it was 7 minutes. That's not what we want. But come back to your other point that your caller made about challenges. I see that now as a big rugby league fan where they have captain's challenge, and at the end of the match, if they've not used it and they're under a bit of pressure, they'll use it then to sort of break up the flow. So there's lots and lots of things. Lots of people have lots of opinions. We're going to be talking about the World Cup. I've mentioned what might be happening there. I think it's all about speeding everything up, making it quicker, And don't forget, in the Premier League, they have the lowest intervention rates across Europe. But weekends like this don't help.
Chris,
just a quick one before you go, mate. You said you're a rugby league fan. You're obviously not a rugby union fan this weekend, no?
I had a feeling that you would remind me of that, and the fact we got hammered by Warrington Wolves doesn't help me either, Ali, as a Saints fan.
Chris, thanks very much indeed for putting yourself through it this Monday morning.
I'm going for a lie down, fellas.
Good luck. a couple of immediate responses. Louis, the Southampton fan. First time this season, a couple of clear and obvious errors by officials. Louis, take that tongue out of your cheek, mate. And Dave, the Arsenal fan, says all games are being refereed. What is Chris Foy talking about? He should be a politician. He didn't answer one of Jeff's questions directly. Very nearly 17 minutes past 7, coming up across live to Milan to celebrate Super Sunday at the Winter Games and find out whether it could get even better for Team GB.
Thomas Tuchel signing a contract, is it because of the fact that the FA were concerned he was going to go somewhere else?
Listen, I think it is. You know, I certainly think he was on Manchester United's list. Who knows, maybe he would have been on Tottenham's list as well. And I think that's why they had to get this done, because what you don't want, if you're the FA, and if you're an England fan, you don't want Thomas Tuchel going into the World Cup with constant speculation that he could be leaving for a Premier League club job at the end of the tournament. I think getting that out of the way, he can focus on the job in hand. I don't think England will win the World Cup. I think there's a lot that counts against England winning this World Cup.
What happens if we lose in the quarterfinals? Does he continue as England manager?
I think I don't think we should underestimate if he gets to the quarterfinal of a World Cup. When you go back pre-Gareth Southgate, which is your argument, we'd have bitten your hand off at the quarterfinal of a World Cup.
Are you going to defend me on that?
No, I'll defend you because I think Gareth Southgate should have won a European Championship. I think they should have beaten Italy in that final. However, pre-Gareth Southgate, England didn't get to quarterfinals and finals at European Championships. So I don't, and it's a tough draw, by the way. You talk about draws. I was there when the draw was made in Washington. England have got to take out some big hitters to get to a quarterfinal.
So where does he have to get to keep his job done?
I think the quarterfinal is par. I think anything beyond that is
success. Do you
agree?
The likelihood is that they're going to have to go to Mexico and play Mexico in Mexico City, which is going to be a difficult thing to do, although Mexico...
The power to know you're indestructible. Always believing. Go.
We need a bar check on that particular rendition.
I just, that it's not watching and just listening would have to be explained. The look of bewilderment I can see in your face.
Just before we talk about the Winter Games, and that's obviously what we're going to do, a massive reaction to Chris Foy. David, the Chelsea fan, said refs aren't using VAR for clear and obvious decisions. If you give teams 2 or 3 checks a game, they will only use them for clear and obvious decisions. Yeah. Graham says bad referees want VAR. Ryan says if you want to speed up the game, just scrap it, and so on and so forth. I clearly feel that I'm not saying we have to scrap VAR, but look at it again and
what
how
do you think,
it's being
Jeff, actually,
used at the moment.
A couple of the things you've said there two reviews a team, I mean, not having had a lot of time to think about it, it maybe appeals to me a little bit, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I used to be very against that, but seeing what's happened with VAR now,
yes,
and the fact that it is so invasive, so intrusive in our game at the moment, then I think it needs some restrictions on it, and that might be a good way of restricting it. And as I think it was David said there, you can guarantee it is only going to be clear and obvious things then that would be affected if it was down to the teams having 2 or 3 checks a game. Look, let's move on to the winter games, shall we? Brilliant Sunday, wasn't it, for Team GB? 2 gold medals in one day, first time ever. Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker winning the mixed team skeleton gold. Charlotte Banks and Hugh Nightingale claiming the snowboard cross mixed team gold. Absolutely brilliant for Matt Weston, of course, first Brit ever to win 2 golds at a single winter game. So I'm delighted to say joining us now to look back on a historic day for Team GB is talkSPORT's Winter Games reporter Michael Wiedock. Morning, Michael.
Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
Morning, guys. I was just thinking there, listening to that. You work your whole life to win an Olympic gold, and then you get presented with Alan Brazil murdering Spandau Ballet.
Too right. Hey, Michael, anyway, look, it's been a brilliant spectacle. Of course, yesterday was a wonderful day as far as Team GB are concerned. I just want to start with Matt Weston's run after Tabby Stoker in that event yesterday to take the gold. What a breathtaking piece of sport that was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're hitting speeds of around about 90 miles an hour coming down that track. You are from top to bottom, less than a minute. And the difference with the team event than the individual is you've got this kind of Formula One start on it. So obviously, Tabby went down and did her run. And then Matt has to get there, and there's the kind of traffic lights, if you like, and then green is go. Because the difference is when you do the individual, you have like a minute to get yourself ready. So you go up to the top, you take your sled up, and then you have a minute, and then you go, and then the time starts. So it's a different discipline. And Tabby did fantastically well, of course, in the individual. She finished 5th. So they were a really good team, and one that we were predicting would do really well in this mixed team event. But watching it, I thought she might have given Matt just a little bit much to do. But Matt Weston, I mean, he broke the track record 4 times in 4 runs in the individual event. And like you say, Jeff, it was never in doubt, was it?
I watched him, Michael, honestly, it was fantastic. And, I just thought his start in particular, he's got such a powerful start, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think the story with Matt Weston's a really interesting one because 4 years ago, went to the Beijing Winter Games. Again, British skeleton, a lot was expected of them there because there'd been this kind of track record, this history of success with the likes of Lizzie Arnold and Amy Williams and others. And they got the tech all wrong 4 years ago. They completely got it wrong. And they all came back having finished way down the field. So they had to basically rip up the plan and start again. And they've obviously got the tech right this time. But I was speaking to Nat Dunman, who's the performance director at British Bobsleigh and Skeleton. The tech's important, but the athlete is even more important. You still need someone like Matt, who tried other sports, remember, before finding skeleton. He was picked up on one of these talent ID days. He had tried taekwondo. He played rugby to a decent level as well. But they have these talent ID days to try and find these athletes. And in fact, they've got one going on at the moment. And British Skeleton told us that after his gold medal in the individual event, they got 1,000 people sign up to give skeleton a go. So terrific that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Look, the other gold, obviously, came from Hugh Nightingale and Charlotte Banks in the mixed team snowboard event. Now, they'd both been disappointing, hadn't they, in their individual events? How did they manage to turn that round so emphatically?
Well, I spoke to Eve Muirhead. So Eve, of course, was the 2022 curling gold medal. She's here as chef de mission, so essentially the boss of Team GB, the leader of the delegation at these games. And I asked her, I spoke to her last night, quite late last night, and I asked her exactly that. How do you go from being hugely disappointed in your individual event, which you're right, both Hugh and Charlotte were, and she said that they just had to put a little plan in place, and they had the plan all ready to go just to make sure they put the athlete front and centre, make sure that the athlete got a bit of time just to reflect on that performance and time with their coaches and time with their friends and family as well, and then put them back together, essentially. Again, going back 4 years to the Beijing Games, we all thought that Charlotte and Hugh were a medal hope there. It didn't work out for them 4 years ago. But since that, in this cycle, they've won medals at World Championship level. Hugh is vastly improved on where he was in 4 years. He's still a very young snowboarder as well. Charlotte is an exceptional snowboarder who would have been really disappointed not to have won an individual medal. But they will both come home now as Olympic champions and the first Team GB gold medalists on snow.
Listen, Michael, I watched it yesterday. I've got to say, Charlotte and Hugh, it was absolutely captivating. Sat and watched the whole thing. It was magic, mate. In your discussion with Eve, did she happen to have any opinion on the absolute scandal that's rocking her own sport?
Oh, the swearing at the curling.
Diabolical. What's going on, Michael? We can't have this.
Well, I was at the curling arena on Saturday, actually, and obviously the big game that kicked off, it was Sweden against Canada.
Yeah.
And there's some allegations there that basically there's been a double touch. So what you do with the stone is you go down to what is the hog line, which is this green line across the ice, and you have to release it before that. And what we've seen from some of the camera angles here is maybe once the stone has been released, there's a little finger going out, and it's just a second touch, a double touch. And, you know, you guys have been talking about VAR all morning and appeals and all of that and challenges. We've had VAR at the curling. We've also had VAR at the speed skating, affecting a British speed skater as well. So, yes, it was all kicking off at the curling. A bit of fruity language used there. But I think they've looked at it now, and there's been allegations back and forward about the camera angles and everything else. And hopefully now, and with Team GB in the curling in the men's and the women's, we can move into the second week, which is the business end.
Michael, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, guys.
Just back to football for a moment. I didn't realise this had happened, but Paul, who's a Woking supporter, says, "Morning, gents. Another game called off in the conference at the weekend, an hour before kick-off on Saturday by the referee. Isn't it time we got local refs to inspect pitches the night before? If there's any chance of the pitch being playable." Now, Woking were playing Altrincham, and I'm guessing that's a 4 to 5 hour trip from Altrincham to Woking. Woking had both sets of fans in the ground.
I know.
Before the game was called off, the caterers had the food cooking, hospitality had a 3-course meal prepared, police and security were there and would have to be paid. Both sets of managers and players were prepared to play and ended holding an open training session on the pitch.
Madness.
Said the referee was from Bournemouth, could have come up Friday evening to take a look at the pitch, and I have to say, it's inexplicable. Look, sometimes, of course, weather conditions can be so horrendous overnight that things can change dramatically. But to be able to hold an open training session on the pitch, which had been deemed unplayable, you see, for me, and I'm not saying that we're holier than thou in any way, shape or form, but if there's any prospect of the game being called off, any doubt, call it off. You know, Hartlepool were due to play Sutton at the weekend. It's about a 5-hour trip for Sutton. It was called off on Friday morning.
Yeah.
You know, and even though conditions might improve, that's the way to do it. You know, I really feel for particularly the Altrincham fans who've made the trip down there. Coming up, we turn our attention to Tottenham and their new interim boss, Igor Tudor, and why he could be the right man to keep Spurs in the Premier League. That's next.
You know, when you walk into Tottenham, what you see everywhere is to dare is to do. It's everywhere. And yet their actions are almost the antithesis of that. Right. It's a real curious in terms of understanding what are they trying to build. You know, what are they? Is it? There's obviously they've built an unbelievable stadium, unbelievable training facilities. But when you look at the expenditure, particularly, you know, in their wages structure, they're not a big club. I saw that because when we were trying to sign players, we weren't in the market for those players.
I was stunned. I was absolutely... I thought it was disgraceful.
Did you?
I thought, honestly, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. The club have given him £7 million. He's blaming everyone but himself.
No, we've got him a trophy.
Yes, but for his sacking, he's blaming everyone. But when I sat down on the day of the final, Daniel Levy comes up to me and goes, I've been in 8 semi-finals and final, and we all laughed.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's his fault.
I don't want to know that. That should be private.
No.
He's giving you... Honestly, he didn't blame himself. Did he ever say, I wasn't that good?
No. No, but
let me tell you now, if you're listening, Ange, I know you won't, but if you're listening, the reason you were the worst Spurs manager in 50 years.
Most successful in the last 20.
And the reason you got the
Is he the most successful in the last 20?
Yeah, but I've already told you why, right?
No, but is he?
Not in the league, no. All I'm saying is league.
When they look back, though, they'll go, and you were successful.
No, because okay, before him, who's the last manager to win something?
Juan de Ramos.
That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a good manager. The last two have been appalling. The last two have been appalling. But let me tell you now, right? The reason he got sacked by Spurs, the reason he got sacked after 39 days at Forest was because he's not a very good manager. And he never looked at himself once. He never blamed himself once. It was never...
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters. But it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the tax man at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. It's the final day of savings in the UK's biggest used car sale, so don't miss out. Now, it is back to Tudor times at Tottenham.
Spurs have confirmed the appointment of Igor Tudor as men's head coach until the end of the season.
A manager in the mold of Antonio Conte, in the likes of that. He wants the back three defense, and he wants a lot of intensity, a lot of aggressivity. His football, in a way, It's a bit simpler.
I always think it's a massive risk when a foreign manager who doesn't necessarily know the Premier League comes in and has to do a job quickly.
Whoever comes along, Joe Blogg, whatever, it doesn't make no difference. At the end of the day, he ain't going to do nothing with them individuals, because if a goalkeeper keeps coming for a cross and he keeps missing it, you know, you can't blame managers for that.
Well, Tottenham plump for Igor Tudor rather than Joe Bloggs as interim boss at Tottenham until the end of the season. His first experience of English football in any capacity will be the North London derby on Sunday. A brilliant text here, which I'll just read before we move on. Good morning. I think hitting the ground running is vital for Spurs and Tudor. So playing Arsenal first can go one of two ways. Win, and it's a great start. Lose, and it continues the rot. Their fixtures don't get any easier after that either. Fingers crossed it goes badly. Luke, the West Ham fan. Which I absolutely love. Thank you very much indeed, Luke. So what can Spurs fans expect? Let's find out from someone who played under the man at Udinese. Very good morning to Al Ahly and Nigeria defender William Troost-Ekong. Morning, William.
Good morning, William. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on, mate.
Great to see you, mate.
What can Spurs fans expect from Igor then?
Well, we heard a little bit about it in the clip. We had him 2 times at Udinese. He's a manager that likes to play 3-5-2 or a variation of it. From what my experience was, of course, attacking football. He hired back line, tries to press high, can be quite direct, and he's definitely a personality. So if they need someone to shake up the place and get everyone going, then he's definitely the right person for it. So. Like mentioned before, the North London derby probably the perfect game to start, and he's definitely also someone who's not intimidated by anything like that. So a big personality, and he's going to get everyone trying to run through a brick wall. So I think that's probably been my experience with him.
Ask you, William. You mentioned he's a big personality, and you would suggest that he's going to have to be to take this job, because when you look at it, what's he going to have to do differently? Do you think, in terms of, you look at the previous coach, there's some great coaches and some fantastic managers, you know, all the way back, Nuno, Mourinho, Big Ange, all these guys, obviously Thomas Frank. What's he going to have to do differently, do you think?
I think my time with him, he was very focused on instilling the confidence back in the team. He came in 2 moments when we weren't doing too well. So, I think for Spurs at this moment in time, he will work a lot with the back line. There was a lot of tactical work that we did. Maybe if they're going to switch up now to 3-5-2, so that was probably be the first thing. And I think also the high pressing and maybe more exciting football. You know, I think the stadium probably needs something to get out of their seats again. So he's definitely the person for that. You probably see a lot of goals. But there could be some conceded as well, because you play with quite high risk and a high line. So that will probably be his biggest difference, I would say. Try and get everyone to run forward as much as they can, really.
I mean, William, look, you've played in a lot of different countries during your career, and Holland and Italy and Greece and the Middle East and so on and so forth. A lot of Spurs fans will be concerned that Igor Tudor doesn't have any experience of English football. Do you think that's a factor?
I think it probably is a factor, but to a certain extent, he's also, you know, he had some great jobs. You know, whether it's playing, managing at Galatasaray, Juventus, Marseille, of course, and as a player, he's very experienced as well. So I think that part probably wouldn't be that he's out of his depth completely, but it's a big change. And the Premier League is a very scrutinised league, a lot to talk about always. So that part might be slightly different. And maybe working with a big group of talented players, but I wouldn't think that'll be too dissimilar to then maybe his job at Juventus before.
Well, tell us, you've had a wonderful travelled career. Al Ahly, how's life with you at the moment?
Yeah, it's great. It's sunny over here.
No surprise there.
No, Doha is an amazing city. And I think it's an interesting league. Of course, it's very different than playing in Europe, but it's a great experience. And I think for this stage of my career, being 32, a great opportunity that I couldn't really turn down. So I'm happy here. But of course, I still watch and follow the Premier League, and I think everyone around the world always does. And whenever someone speaks to me about my experience, they always want to know what it's like playing in England.
Yeah. Do you still feel an affinity with Spurs? Do you keep a special eye out for their results?
It was the first club in England where I actually used to go to the stadium. So as a scholar at the time, we used to go and watch the first team play all the time. This was under Harry Redknapp. I had some great examples. First team players that used to clean their boots, like Michael Dawson, Eddie King, William Gallas, Sebastian Bassong. And I ended up meeting some of those players along the way. Sandro became my teammate at Udinese, actually, who's still, I think, around Spurs a lot. So yeah, it's been one of the clubs that I definitely follow with love. But I think also Watford is a team that has been close to my heart because playing there and having the chance to be with them in the Premier League for a season and captain the team for a short while was also something really amazing.
Wonderful. William, look, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, William. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, and I look forward to Eagle through the start.
Thank you very much indeed,
Take care,
mate.
mate.
Yeah.
I just looked there, Jeff.
Yeah, go on.
Just looking. I mean, that's some career.
Oh, yeah.
Williams, Groningen.
Oh, yeah, the places he's been.
Can name but a few. Groningen, Ghent, Bursaspor, Udinese, Watford, PAOK, Al Ahly, throwing 82 caps for Nigeria. It's not bad, is it?
No, I mean, absolutely brilliant. And you could look at Igor Tudor's career as well. You know, a couple of times, as William was saying there, helped save Udinese from relegation a couple of times. Did the same at Hellas Verona. Did well at Marseille. And then, of course, Juventus and Lazio and so on and so forth. But there's no question, and I think, William alluded to it there, it is going to be difficult for him to step straight into the Premier League without knowing exactly what is in store for him. And by that I mean, knowing what to expect when he got to Sunderland, for example, or knowing what to expect when he got to Newcastle. Those sort of things that doesn't matter how many games you played in how many different countries, I think he will find things that do take him by surprise. And I'm not sure if it's an advantage or a disadvantage playing Arsenal first. I mean, there are limited expectations, so maybe it'll be a help.
Yeah, there's only, you can say whatever you like, but it's a heck of a start. I mean, if I was going to be brutally honest, I don't think you would want that start, Jeff. Yeah, it's great. If you actually turn over your rivals, fantastic. But I don't think it's the ideal start. I'm not seeing anything at this moment in time that would suggest Tottenham will turn over Arsenal, is what I'm trying to say.
And it doesn't get much easier. Fulham away, Palace at home. We've seen Palace's resilience recently, and Liverpool away in the games after that. It's a tough start.
Yeah.
But, only one job, 5 points off relegation. Keep them up. That's the only job. Morning, Jeff and Ali. I'm a Spurs fan. Have been for 50 years. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm convinced the board are basing decisions on Ted Lasso. Don't think the decisions have been that good, to be brutally honest, so far. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
A gold rush to the British team at the Winter Games yesterday. We'll welcome two of our gold medalists, mixed skeleton stars Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker, onto the show just after 9 this morning. You'll also hear live from the only boss who pulled off an FA Cup shock the weekend, Mansfield Town's Nigel Clough. And we'll also hear from the star of Scotland's Six Nations win over England, Hugh Jones. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
supported Arsenal all his life, and I just want to say that I fear for Arsenal again because I genuinely believe that Mikel Arteta sets out his team not to lose.
Agreed.
Not to lose. Whereas Man City set out to win. And I don't know how you win something by setting out not to lose. And this is a problem we have every year. We get towards the end, and he thinks that by not losing, getting a draw will be all right. But every time you draw now and the other team wins, you drop 2 points in the Premier League.
Yep.
And so he's got a tried and tested method of failing. And if my reasons for believing that are, first of all, I've never believed he's going to get us over the line after his first full season. If you look back, I believe there was a moment. There was 8 games left to play. Arsenal were in 4th place. We were 5 points clear of the team in 5th, and we had a game in hand, and we still managed to finish 5th. And every season since then has been the same.
That was when you went to Newcastle and lost, wasn't it? I mean, I think he's got a great point because you compare. We were there, Sam, for both games. You compare Manchester City's performance at Anfield to Arsenal's performance at Anfield earlier in the season. Mikel Arteta went there to not get beaten. Pep Guardiola went to Anfield at the weekend, even at 1-0 down,
different,
to try and win the game.
Manchester City are in a situation now where they have to win almost every game. They have to attack it, whereas Mikel Arteta has come up with a strategy where he's plotting his way through the course of the
I think
season
it's risky,
strategically.
and I think if they don't win it,
it's
it'll
a
be on the
low-risk
manager gaps.
approach in terms of the fact that he's trying not to play gambling football, but it could be one that backfires.
Good morning, 7:49. It is Monday, February the 16th. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me as well. Look, I know you're a lovely lot out there, I really do, but just once in a while we get a text that just leaves me shaking my head in disbelief. And here it is. The anti-British bias from Jeff is unbelievable. There are more foreign managers who've had success in the Premier League than British. Don't forget, it's an anonymous texter. The anti-British bias must be the fact that I suggested that Igor Tudor had not managed in the Premier League before, and consequently that might be deemed to be a disadvantage. Goodness gracious me. Morning, lads. Very, very disappointed with the Tudor appointment. Why not go for someone you know, like Sherwood, Redknapp, Hoddle? Not this fella. Championship football, here we come. And to top off a Monday morning, you've got a Scottish lad buzzing after beating us coming on soon. Happy Monday from Greeno. Thank you, Greeno. And Peter says,
hey,
morning,
you've got
boys.
one on already, Greeno. Never mind coming on soon.
Morning, boys, says Peter. Sunday's basically a free hit for Tudor. Spurs have taken 4 points off City this season. Anything can happen. Solanke hat-trick incoming. Igor Tudor's blue and white army. Thanks, Peter. Sort of optimism we want to see from Spurs fans. Headlines this morning. Yusuf Chamiti struck a hat-trick as Rangers pulled closer to Scottish Premier League leaders Hearts with a 4-2 win at Ibrox. He'd scored 4 in 28 for Rangers before yesterday's hat-trick. Arsenal have endured a fresh injury blow in the shape of defender Riccardo Calafiori, forced to pull out of the starting 11 minutes before their win over Wigan. Wolves and Arsenal. Wolves coming up this week for the Gunners. Manager Mikel Arteta admitted he is worried about the situation.
Yes, and especially because we are going through. Before it was the strikers, then it was the defenders, now it's the midfielders. But we are still coping with that. But yeah, we need some players back and fit, and to give us as well not only numbers, but different options in relation to the opponents that we have. So the quicker they are, the better.
We're still coping, did he say that? I mean, seriously, when it comes to injuries, Mikel and Arsenal fans shouldn't expect any sympathy whatsoever with the size of the squad they have got. You know, I know they've had some injuries, but the squad is humongous.
No, listen, I think they're North London rivals. If there's any sympathy, and I doubt there will be from opposition football fans, but if there's any sympathy for a team with injuries, I would suggest Tottenham might just be top of the list.
Yes.
If there's any getting thrown about.
Yeah, completely agree. He's not going to be pushed to name a starting 11 and a squad of internationals on the bench either, is he? Come what may. Right, Nottingham Forest are on to their fourth manager of the season. The chosen one this time, Vitor Pereira, appointed on an 18-month deal. Good luck with that, Vitor. Pereira took over at Wolves last season and guided them to Premier League safety, winning his first 2 games. He also went on a run of 6 consecutive victories. But Coisty, at the start of this season, he was in charge and took 2 points from the first 10 games.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that as an appointment?
Well, I'm baffled by it, is the answer to that question, Jeff. I mean, I'll say it again, the owner does things differently, he does it his way, which he's quite entitled to do. But you're talking about a complete lack of stability in the managerial and coaching staff at Forest. I've got a wee feeling it might go horribly wrong for them, to tell you the gospel truth, Jeff. I mean, there's a few clubs down there. Forest are bang in it. I'm of the opinion, rightly or wrongly, that Sean Dyche should have kept him in the division. I'm just not sure they'll stay there now. They have got the advantage. They have got one sort of bonus that there's 2 or 3 teams down there equally, as I think, as poor as them at this moment in time. So that, if you can look on that as a positive, you can look on it as a positive. But I don't see anything in the change, and it's difficult to judge because there's not been any football played, obviously, but I don't see anything in the change that will convince me that there's going to be an upturn in Forest's performances and results, mate. I mean, I said it the other day there, if Forest were in this situation and they're going to make a change, one of the men you'd be looking to go and get would be Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Because he's the kind of guy that would handle the situation. So, nah, I'm a little bit concerned for Forest, mate.
So, how do you view Evangelos Marinakis then? Do you think that he is impetuous, reckless, or do you like the fact that he is determined to ensure Forest safety, regardless of how people perceive him?
Well, that's the one thing that he's not bothered about, and nor should he, is how other people how they see him and how they perceive him. Because I don't think anybody can doubt, Jeff, he 100% has Forest's best interests at heart. Now, he might be making a mistake in the change of management, and I think he has made a mistake. I would have kept Sean Dyche. But there is no doubt in anybody's mind that he's made the decision in Forest's best, what he believes to be Forest's best interest, because he clearly, it's his club and he wants to stay in the top flight. Of that there's absolutely no doubt, and he's going to do everything to achieve that. But do you achieve it having 4 managers? The fact you're having 4 managers in the one season would tell you all. I mean, it's not rocket science. It tells you everything's not right at the club, not well within the club. Having 4 managers in the one season, I mean, that's bordering on ridiculous, to tell you the truth. Well, it is ridiculous.
I mean, look, Vitor Pereira knows Marinakis. He knows what to expect from him, and it's fair to say that he is a very likeable character. But of course, you don't get points for likability, do you? Very difficult situation he comes in. Now, next 3 games in the Premier League: home to Liverpool, away to Brighton, away to Manchester City.
Wow.
So it is a mighty tough start as far as Victor Pereira is concerned. That is for sure. You can hear, by the way, if you can get a good start in the Forest dugout this Thursday, because as well as those games, of course, they have Europa League action. Fenerbahce this weekend. First leg away from home on Thursday. You can hear it live on talkSPORT. Text, hi Jeff and Ali. This is Rob the cabbie. I've been a Mansfield fan for over 30 years. We've never had it so good. Please thank Nigel Clough and the Radfords for giving us such special memories. My son is 9. He's been coming with me for the last 3 seasons. I have to keep telling him it's not always been like this. And Jeff, Rhys Oates, what a player. Such a shame. Injuries have probably robbed him of playing at a high level. Come on, the Stags. Rob, thank you so much for that. Stay listening, Rob, because coming up we'll be joined by the man who masterminded that FA Cup upset at the weekend. Mansfield boss Nigel Clough is coming next.
The irony is, I think Arteta is one of the best managers to grace the Premier League for a long time. I think if anyone can, and I just think we just need to play.
Sorry, say that again. What did you say? Just say that Arteta's one of the greatest managers to ever come into the Premier League.
Yeah, can you not hear this evening?
But what are you on about? He ain't won that. He ain't won nothing.
No, but you know he's a young manager. Wenger came second 3 years on the trot, and then he won the league. You got to give these guys time. And you know, I think
you just said you've been found out.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you say that Arteta's one of the greatest managers to grace the Premier League, or recent? I missed what you said. What did you say?
I said Arteta is one of the best managers. Yeah. He's come into a club. Yeah. I don't know which one of you are talking, but one of you's a Tottenham fan.
No, go on. But I want to know what you said.
He's come into the club. He's changed the culture of the club from something which was.
Yeah, listen. Just say what you said.
Well, I can't remember what I said now.
I can't remember what you said. You said it. Did you say he's one of the greatest managers to grace the Premier League?
Yes, I did. Like what?
One of the greatest. One of the greatest.
Yeah.
To grace the Premier League.
Yeah. Shall I say it again and then you question me whether I said it again?
Yeah. Do it. Say it.
Yeah. He's one of the greatest managers.
No, that's not what you said.
The Premier League.
You said managers. You said managers. Anyway, let's get away from that because
no, I want him to say it again.
From the Toffees to the Tractor Boys, the Eagles to the Seagulls, Gunners, Bees, Hammers and Magpies, Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Let's start with Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were 2 local toffee shops. Ye Ancient Everton Toffee House and Mother Noblet's Toffee Shop were big fan favourites. Next, they say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, and that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire is also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves two club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell, and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles." And some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them. Like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders. So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
Good morning to you. It's 4 minutes past 8 o'clock, Monday, February the 16th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark's Real Sale. It's your last chance to save big on your next car as the sale ends today. Time now to look at the latest FA Cup action in partnership with McDonald's.
FA Cup update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got big McDonald's hunger? Order delivery on the McDonald's app today. From 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders. Subject to availability. Price may vary.
FA Cup weekend. One big FA Cup upset with League One Mansfield Town coming from behind to beat Burnley to add to Scott Parker's woes. Here's how all the action sounded live on talkSPORT.
Coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area, still Chris Somerville! 1-0 West Ham! It has taken them 95 minutes. Hammer blow for Burton Albion.
Manchester City 2, Salford 0. Mark Guehi's first goal for Manchester City will ease the nerves here at Etihad Stadium.
And what a story it is developing here. Burnley 1, Mansfield 2, and wait till you see this goal back. It is an absolute screamer from Louis Reed. The cheers you can hear from one side of Turf Moor, drowning out the boos that you can hear from the home fans.
Deflection on the cross, Newcastle want handball. The referee has a look at it. He's given a free kick here, the referee.
It's a penalty. That should be a penalty.
Tonali with another drive. Oh, what a goal! Newcastle United are into round 5.
Salah earned the penalty. Now he's up against Steele. Comes forward and smashes it into the corner. Liverpool are on their way through. It's another defeat for Brighton.
4-0 to Arsenal in the 27th minute. They are absolutely rampant here.
A couple of fantastic goals at Turf Moor at the weekend, and the only upset of the fourth round so far, at least, as Mansfield have gone to Burnley and won by 2-1. So time to say a very good morning to their manager, Nigel Clough. Morning, Nigel.
Good morning, Nigel.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali.
Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Thank you. I knew you'd be on as soon as Reece Oates scored the first goal. I thought on the bench, so it crossed my mind straight away. I thought Jeff will be straight on Monday morning now.
Hey, he got his own little section on Match of the Day, didn't he? You know, his performance was that good. So, and by the way, what a header that was. I know that Louis Reed's free kick was brilliant, but the header was magnificent.
Yeah, 2 great goals. He's got a good spring on him, but 2 good goals. We're going to have to be to win it somewhere like Burnley.
Yeah.
And we got away with 2 or 3 as well there, and there's a couple of good chances. And that's all what it needs, you know, because if they're absolutely firing at all cylinders, we don't get near them. But we got a bit fortunate in a couple of occasions.
You had a great chance, actually. It was at the start of the second half to score as well. Yeah. It might have been Reece Oates that went through it. Somebody was short with a pass back. He had lovely feet, moved it right to left, then went through it, and then it just failed to hit the target. So you weren't without chances yourself.
Yeah, we did have. We were quite encouraged at half-time despite not playing too well. Just a couple of gentle reminders about getting forward a little bit better and passing forward and trying to pass to one of your mates as well, which I pointed out to them, easily identifiable because we've got the same coloured shirt on. So that helped. Yeah, that helped. And we were a bit more like us in the second half. But Reece went clear and we thought that could have been the opportunity. And he just put it in the crowd, which he is also prone to do on occasion. And then he makes up for it with a brilliant header 5-10 minutes later.
So, look, I was waiting for the post-match stuff. I was looking forward to hearing from you, Nigel. And then everywhere I looked, it was your assistant on. What was that about?
Yeah, well, it's somebody else, different voice. I get tired of my own voice, so everybody else must at times. So it's nice to get a different viewpoint.
I was told you'd lost your voice through shouting so much.
No. The kids were there, so I nipped round to see them after the game as well. And there's a lot of emotion sometimes after games, and sometimes it's best not to do it. You know, you see the faces of our supporters. I think 3,500 we'd have sold it more if we could have got more. But just seeing their faces and everything, there's a lot of emotion involved on a day like Saturday.
Nigel, tell me, is it difficult for somebody like yourself? I mean, and there's absolutely no disrespect at all meant to Blackpool. I think you've got Blackpool away this week. But how do you get the players' feet back in the ground after an absolutely wonderful weekend?
Well, it was, I think the third word, it was well done today, and then the fourth word was get ready for Blackpool on Tuesday, because it's a far, far more important game, and we've got to stay in the league. So the cup run's great and everything, wonderful for everybody, memories, but our business is Tuesday, Saturday now. We've got Blackpool and Lincoln. Still upset about losing to Peterborough last Tuesday, especially in the manner in which we did. 9 games unbeaten. And we go and concede 2 very, very poor goals. Peterborough punished us, but we should have got something from the game. Yeah. So still upset about that, really.
Yeah. I know you're a lover of the FA Cup, Nigel. You know, it's really important from the FA Cup's point of view that we still get results like... I mean, this is the only surprise, the only upset of the weekend. And for the health of the FA Cup, we need results like this, don't we?
Oh, definitely. I think Macclesfield's achievements have proved that, knocking out the holders, in the third round. Got another go at a Premier League club tonight. I thought the one that filled me with nostalgia was watching Grimsby v Wolves yesterday. A little bit. I thought it was fantastic. Seeing some mud on the pitch and seeing some sliding tackles and everything. It really did take you back to when there were proper cup ties on pitches like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was wonderful to watch.
Yeah. Oh, you're taking me back, Nigel. My favourite ever... Hereford, Newcastle, Big John Radford, and the mud when it just hit a kind of divot and bounced up perfectly for him to hit. Brilliant it was. Now listen, as I'm going to say to you, this is I'm led to believe Mansfield's first 5th round appearance in over 50 years. I'm at Macclesfield tonight. I'm really looking forward to that game. I mean, their exploits in the previous round, well documented and absolutely fantastic. And we're doing the draw before the game. I can't promise you anything, Nigel, but what would you fancy?
I don't know what a good draw would look like at this stage. I really don't know. For Mansfield in the city, I don't know whether it's, I suppose for sentimental reasons, to go back to Anfield would be incredibly special, but I really don't know what a good draw would look like. So we're happy to be there. Let's see what we get.
Yeah. Tony in Manchester has just asked a question. He said, what time do Man City get drawn at home to Mansfield tonight?
Oh, please don't. Please don't. We still have nightmares about that 9-0. One of our little lad after the game there said to us, he said, we want Man City away. I said, we really don't.
Brilliant. Hey, Nigel.
Another chap said to me, I've had a dream. He said, we're getting Wrexham away. I said, that's a nightmare, not a dream.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, Sheffield United away, Burnley away. You need a bit of a change of fortune, don't you? You've got through both of those, which is brilliant. Yeah. So good luck in the draw this evening. Hope it turns out the way you want. And congratulations on another fantastic weekend.
Brilliant, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nigel Clough, the manager of Mansfield.
You're right. Listen, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a brilliant header. Great delivery and back, and he gets up well. But what about the hit for the free kick? I know what you're saying.
Yeah, brilliant hit.
Magnificent, isn't it?
Brilliant hit. And, of course, he's the boy who scored twice against Sheffield United as well, wasn't he? So, absolutely sensational. I do hope they get a good draw tonight. But, I mean, I think it was really significant that we had at least one upset.
Of course it is.
I think at the weekend there were 183 team changes in sides picked to play in the FA Cup from the previous league games. It's too many, isn't it? You know, it reduces the impact of the FA Cup for me. But I don't know how on earth we change that. Look, David has texted and he says lots of players didn't like Sean Dyche. His training methods were a sore point.
Oh, that's a shame. Isn't it? That's a shame.
Yeah, new manager bounce incoming. Eat your words, Ali. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's
I mean, the players just need to pull their finger out.
That's terrible.
And get on with it.
Who's that coming from?
From David. And by the way, David, I don't accept that because wasn't Sean Dyche manager of the month in January? He'd lost 1 out of 6 games.
Yes.
So, you know, it looked to me like the players were absolutely fine with Sean Dyche, but the chairman wasn't. Simple as that. That was all thanks to McDonald's.
FA Cup update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got big McDonald's hunger? Order delivery on the McDonald's app today. From 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders. Subject to availability. Price may vary.
A lot of discussion over VAR this morning. 2 options for VAR. Get rid or improve with radical thinking. This texter says there's no need to stop the game. Overturned decisions could be settled by penalties awarded at the end of the match. Oh, my goodness. Now, well, he did say radical thinking, and that is indeed.
Spare us a thought.
That is radical thinking. So, yeah, decided all at the end. OK, coming up, we'll turn our attention to who could win the FA Cup and find out if Ali's likely to take up any winter sports after Team GB's Super Sunday yesterday.
Speaking on the Overlap Stick to Football podcast, and Postecoglou criticised Tottenham's transfer strategy while claiming his former side are not a big club in the wake of Thomas Frank's sacking.
You know, when you walk into Tottenham, what you see everywhere is to dare is to do. It's everywhere. And yet their actions are almost the antithesis of that. Right. It's a real curious in terms of understanding what are they trying to build? You know, what are they? Is it... There's obviously, they've built an unbelievable stadium, unbelievable training facilities. But when you look at the expenditure, particularly, you know, in their wages structure, they're not a big club. I saw that because when we were trying to sign players, we weren't in the market for those players. It's just who we are, mate.
Oh my God. To dare is to do. What do you lot do? You do nothing. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, look.
What do you do? What do you do? Do you dare?
Well, we're not doing, are we?
Do you dare? And then once you've dared, do you do doing?
Well, we're not doing it at the moment, are we?
Are you daring?
Well, we dared, and we won the Europa League.
And are you still doing it?
No. But I'm so sick of talking about Tottenham. I mean, look.
It's your job.
No, I know, but it's just like,
it's not my fault, is it?
Ex-manager coming on.
Don't start having a pop at me.
It was absolutely garbage in the Premier League. All right, he won the Europa League.
Good morning, 18 minutes past 8 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me today. Not everyone is convinced that Vitor Pereira will be a long-term appointment at Nottingham Forest. Gaz says the new Nottingham Forest manager is parked in the short-term car park. And Dave says, I have it on good authority. The new Forest manager will get 3 seasons. Winter, spring and autumn. Thanks very much indeed, Dave. We shall see. We shall see. Right. Team GB, of course, made history by winning 2 gold medals yesterday at the Winter Games. And it's fair to say, I think the Winter Games have swept the nation. There might even be 1 or 2 people out there this morning listening to the show who might fancy giving one of the sports a go. Well, we spotted a bit of a story this morning on talksport.com that might put a few people off. Let's hear what injury PDC darts player Scott Williams suffered when he tried his hand at curling.
As a large human being, a 6'4", without the heels on, human being, do not do it. Do not curl. Do not do curling, do not get stones, don't even think about it. Because it is the most ridiculous sport. It's the most painful sport I've ever experienced in my life. And I don't wish it upon anyone. My legs hurt, my neck hurts, my penis hurts. That's probably because I caught it in the zipper, but that's a different story. Don't curl.
Probably information we could have done without at 19 minutes past 8 on a Monday morning. However, look, I tell you what, Coist, if you were to have a go at a Winter Olympics event, you know what I think you should do?
Yes, mate.
Ski jumping, mate. I can just see it now. Ali the Eagle.
I'll tell you what, mate. They have a fair old crater when I landed, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but you'd have momentum, though, wouldn't you, when you were in the air?
Absolutely. I don't think getting the yardage in would be a problem, particularly if I was wind assisted. But I tell you, I've really enjoyed it, Jeff. I've really, really enjoyed it. I think the coverage has been good. I think the competition's been good. I think the supporters, I think the venue, everything about it's been excellent so far, mate. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it has been absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a great TV sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, most of the time as well, pretty simple to understand what's going on.
Yes.
You know, maybe not so much in the curling, but most of the other things. And I think the way that it's developed over the years and moved forward, some of the snowboarding stuff is absolutely brilliant and spectacular.
Well, see, when Absolutely, Jeff. When you look at it, you look at snowboarding in particular, and whether it's a downhill skiing or even the skeleton, you know, you're either competing against somebody or you're competing against the clock, you know, and you've always got a gauge. I just think it's been brilliant. The last couple of weekends I've just sat, you know, as I mentioned, the Sunday and watched it. The competition's been, I loved that snowboarding yesterday, and obviously the skeleton as well was fantastic. What, particularly Matt Weston, what he's achieved there, 2 gold medals is remarkable. And to think that we got our first gold medal in the snow ever, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, absolutely sensational. It has been wonderful. Luke suggests that we've misunderstood the feeling towards Sean Dyche at Forest. You will not find a single fan that didn't think things needed to change. He lost the dressing room following his post-match after the Wrexham defeat. 2 points from 3 games against relegation rivals. We were sleepwalking into relegation. Pereira might not work, but we had to do something. I hear you, Luke. You know, I completely get it. When you're a fan of a specific club, you see things very differently to those looking in from the outside.
I don't know. That phrase does me in. Lost the dressing room.
Yeah,
you know?
After his post-match comments, well, the players had been out on the field and they had lost to a side from a lower division.
Correct.
So maybe they should be asking themselves questions rather than asking questions of the manager. But as I say, when you're a fan of that club, you see things very differently to those of us who are just looking in from the outside. OK, let's get the latest odds now with Coral and John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
John, good morning to you.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit of a slip-up for Rochdale at the weekend. We drew 1-1 with Yeovil, so a couple of points dropped there. It means York are top now, Rochdale second, but 2 games in hand. So very tight at the top.
Yeah, but I tell you what, John, York, for goodness sake. I mean, talk about lucky. Oh, what? They scored in the 103rd minute against us from a debatable penalty. I mean, you know, and beat us 3-2.
And it was
the
debatable.
103rd minute, you know?
Yeah,
what
it was as soft
joke.
as they come as well.
Oh.
We just won our game, and I tuned into your game the last, whatever minutes it was, 100 and whatever, thinking this is a great result, points drop for York, and then the 103rd minute, I was thinking, here we go.
The Hartlepool man giving York a bit of stick about a late goal. There's a shock. There's a major surprise.
Coisty, they deserved it, and they've had plenty of those this season as well. And they've had plenty of penalties as well, by the way. No bitterness here at all. But you've got Scunny tonight. And Boston United softened them up at the weekend.
Unbelievable result.
Yeah, it was Scunthorpe 3, Boston 6, Coisty.
Incredible. Yeah, it was an incredible one, that.
Anyway, look,
will you be heading to the Ruislip area tomorrow evening for the old Grosvenor Vale, Whalestorm?
No, I won't. You know why? Because I'm going to be here. And I thought I'll go up there and I'll get the tube and the train. I can't get back home by train after the game. It's just what I'm going to Solihull at the weekend, though. So
very nice.
Yeah. Look, we better move on to things that people other than you and I are interested about. So, what about the FA Cup this evening? Macclesfield, we've seen them do it once against Crystal Palace. Can they put out another Premier League side, another London side in Brentford? What sort of odds would you get against that happening?
Yeah, well, it'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Lightning could strike twice. They're 9-1. To prevail tonight, Macclesfield. Brentford 1-4. The draw 6-1. We saw one upset, didn't we, on Saturday? Was it? Get my days. Oxford obviously beating. Was it Oxford? Mansfield, sorry, beating Burnley, wasn't it? So we have had an upset this weekend, but this would be the biggest of the lot, and that was the biggest of the lot in the last round, wasn't it? Beating Crystal Palace was just an absolute sensational result for Macclesfield. All the problems they've had, Jeff, you'll know, but well documented financially and problems on and off the pitch, Macclesfield. So it was great to see them prevail, and what happens tonight, they've had a great run, and I'm sure the fans will enjoy it this evening. So very best of luck to the Silkmen.
I tell you what I haven't mentioned this morning, John. We've mentioned everything: Winter Olympics, you name it, Scottish football, which has been brilliant. We've even had a mention. We've not went overboard on the rugby union, the Calcutta Cup, but it has got a small mention in dispatches. What about the game arguably the game of the night tonight in the First Division, and I beg your pardon, the Championship? Coventry hosting high-flying Kim Helberg's Middlesbrough. How are you seeing that, mate? Because that's some game tonight.
Oh, absolutely huge game, isn't it? You think about it, Coventry at one stage were 10 points clear of Middlesbrough in the table. Now, that's all changed around. Middlesbrough now, after winning 6 games of the spin, they hold that top spot. So huge game tonight, this, for both sides. Coventry are favourites, but I think that's because of the home advantage. They're 13-10 prevail. Middlesbrough 2-1. The draw 5-2. But look, very little in it. And in terms of the outright bets in the Championship, this is a great division. Middlesbrough even money favourites. Then we go 5-2 Coventry, 5-2 Ipswich. All 3 sides really with a great chance of winning the title and getting promotion to the Premier League. So, yeah, this is a really big game tonight for the 2 teams.
5-2 Coventry to win that league is a big price. And I know they're in a rotten run of form at the moment. I know Middlesbrough are doing brilliantly as well.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised they're as big as that.
Yeah, it's one of them, Jeff, isn't it? Look, if you'd have offered them this at the start of the season, this position, they'd absolutely grab your hand off. So you've almost just got to forget about that run they've just been on, concentrate on the last few months of the season, and they're primed, aren't they, for a shot at the title or at the very least chance of promotion to the Premier League, which would be a great achievement if they could do it.
John, just a quick one. Good performance with John Bonner at the weekend. Interesting statistic I read. Only 2-time Cheltenham Gold Cup winner Kato Starr has more Grade 1 victories. That's some achievement, isn't it?
It is some achievement, yeah. He's a fantastic horse. He's actually the apple in JP McManus's eye. JP McManus owns all these great horses, had some great horses over the years. This is the horse that, is the apple in his eye. He absolutely loves him. And it was a brilliant performance. He's now 4-1 to win the Ryanair Chase. We think he's probably going to go Ryanair this year rather than Queen Mother Champion Chase over 2 miles, so stepping up in distance. He'd never won at Cheltenham before, so, arguably the best horse never to prevail at the Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah.
I think you put that in his bracket. Never been out of the front 2. He's a brilliant horse, and I'm sure, the team, Nicky Anderson, JP McManus, they'll be cheering him on at the festival. And we could be also seeing another great this week, Constitution Hill, set to feature at Southwell. I say set to feature. They put this race on for him, extra prize money on the flat, etc., 40 grand available. Unfortunately, they've all had a record number of entries, and at the moment, as things stand, he doesn't get an automatic entry, so he may get balloted out of the race. So you could make that up, couldn't you? They put a great event on at Southwell, bring the big names in, and he might not get in the race. So that would be quite something. But hopefully he does, because there'll be a big crowd there Friday night at Southwell.
I have read from 1 or 2 trainers, how can they put 40 grand into this race when the rest of the jump racing, struggles along on pitiful prize money? But
it shows what can be done. Yeah, people
it's what can be done.
Exactly that, Jeff.
John, good luck tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Jeff.
John, have a good
Appreciate it. Have a good week, boys. Cheers.
Cheers. And that was a look at the Let's Odds with Coral 18+, gambleaware.org. Coisty, I suggested Ali the Eagle. We have been swamped with people suggesting something more appropriate. Ali the Albatross.
Very good.
Coming up, we'll turn our attention to that huge game tonight. We mentioned it a moment ago. Macclesfield against Brentford live on talkSPORT. Can they do it again? We'll discuss that after this.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Alex Crook has been crowing about this for the last 24 hours because, of course, this has been his motto. He said, I felt like Tottenham was saying, we're one of the big boys, and the reality is, I don't think they are.
Well, it's interesting. If I've been saying that in an Australian accent and holding up the Europa League trophy for the past 6 months, maybe Tottenham fans might believe me a bit more, because he's their hero, isn't he? Despite the fact he finished 17th last season. And he's right. He said all the things that I've been saying. they're a big club in terms of the training ground is fantastic. The stadium is the best in the Premier League, if not the best in Europe. But they're not a big club in terms of trophies won, in terms of global fan base, when you compare them to the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United and Arsenal, especially now that Son is not there anymore, because that did open up all kinds of avenues for them. And they're not a big club in terms of the transfer fees they pay, because Dominic Solanke is still their record signing at £65 million. And they're not a big club in terms of the wages.
Well, actually, that does make them a big club in world football, because there's not many clubs that play that sort of money for players. Most of them are in the Premier League
club, though.
But wages is a big problem.
Yeah, but they're not paying pennies here. Like, what we're talking about here, maybe they don't pay £300,000 a week, but I can imagine some of the Spurs players are on close to 200. I would imagine so.
Well, they certainly shouldn't have a wage bill. Their wage bill is not 17th, 16th in the Premier League, is it? There's no way that can be the case.
No, but I also think what Ange was saying was that when he finished 5th in his first season,
we should be going.
But that was an overachievement, really, when you look at where Tottenham have been in the Premier League era. I know they had a few golden years under Mauricio Pochettino, but they're not an established top 4 team. They're not.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. The UK's biggest car sale ends today. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me, 8:35, Monday, February the 16th. So, after knocking out FA Cup holders Crystal Palace, Macclesfield back on the giant killing trail, this time taking on Premier League side Brentford, and talkSPORT has you covered.
Dawson puts his foot through to get it away. They have done it. They have done it. Macclesfield have knocked the holders out of the FA Cup.
I think it'd take a miracle, but on the day, the lads were outstanding. Both were still massive underdogs rolling into the Brentford game.
Jensen's going to go for goal and win the game with an absolute stunner.
This is what it's about. It's about fans and players, and that's ultimately what it's always been about. So fans have to get excited.
Hasn't it shown once again, the FA Cup? What a beautiful competition it is.
Well, the last non-league team to knock out two top-flight sides in one FA Cup season was Millwall. back in the 1913-1914 season. Before you say it, no, I do not remember it.
Enjoyed your commentary, actually.
That was the last game you didn't do, wasn't it, Coisty?
Good reply.
Yeah. Look, you are covering tonight's game. Let's speak to the Macclesfield owner, Robert Smethurst. Morning, Robert.
Good morning, Robert.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah,
Very well,
very good,
very
mate.
well,
So, how are you feeling this morning? I suppose, Brentford are pre-warned by the fact that you've already beaten Palace, but your boys' confidence must be sky high.
Oh, it's sky high. I was with them all day yesterday, and they're all super excited. It's a free hit for us, so the lads are really calm, they're composed, and they're buzzing about tonight.
Do you know what I thought, Robert, about the game against Palace, which was remarkable? When you get a kind of giant killing act, generally speaking, the minnow, if you like, has to carry a little bit of luck, and invariably the top team will miss chances. I didn't think that tie was effectively like that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you dominated the game, but I thought it was a deserving victory.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it was so unexpected. I think you expect these big clubs to come here and beat us 8-9, maybe 10-15-0. That's kind of what you expect. And I thought the lads were composed. They were just played absolutely out their skins. I thought their fitness levels may have struggled, but it just shows that how good non-league is now, really, with the level of these players that dropped out of the likes of the academies, and they want to give it all and showcase themselves. But they were brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of teams, Rob, in this situation, giant killers, they might easily have their heads turned. But I've looked at your league form, and it's been amazing. Won 5 of the last 6, scored 20 goals as well. So the boys have kept their feet very firmly on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's something that John does particularly well. John Rooney, he makes sure that they keep grounded. It is our bread and butter, as he says, and we want to try and move up that league pyramid system as quick as possible. And he is very grounded, and so have the lads, to be fair. But I think it's given us that little bit of inner confidence to go out there and really perform, and off the back of what we did.
I met John after your previous victory, and you're absolutely right. He grounded, very impressive, Rob. I've got to say, he really was impressive. Now, I was looking myself at the home form has been brilliant, absolutely sensational. I think he only lost one in last 15 at home. And in terms of the FA Cup, I think 6 or 7 ties have been at home. And I think you had one victory away at Slough. How important, stating the obvious, clearly how important is playing at home, particularly in a cup tie like this?
Well, it's huge. I think you've got, when they're not used to the environment, I think the AstroTurf is a real game changer for us. It gives us a great opportunity to, something that they're not used to. Obviously, the facilities for the changing rooms and, again, not probably what they quite expect. But, I think from what I've seen with, the last couple of days, Brentford are taking this very seriously. They were training on AstroTurf all day yesterday at one of our local clubs. They're coming here this morning, I think about 11 o'clock. To do pitch measurements and walk around the pitch. So, they aren't going to take this lightly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so very long ago that Macclesfield, in its previous existence, Rob, were in the EFL playing Brentford. I think 2009 was the last time they played them, as equals in the Football League. And your dream must still be that one day, maybe not playing Brentford again, but to be back in the EFL.
Yeah, it's a dream of mine. I think, something that I'm determined to try and do. I think, it's not going to be easy, but, with the right team and the right sort of, hopefully with John staying, he'll drive us forward. And again, it's all down to recruitment at these levels. And, and if we can get the right recruitment, we can get the right budgets in place, then hopefully we can do it.
It's an interesting one, Robert, as well, because, I mean, as brilliant as the result was against Crystal Palace, and it was absolutely phenomenal, fantastic for everyone involved at the club, and indeed the town and surrounding areas. You look at it, because what happened perhaps once, you look at Keith Andrews in Brentford now, they've obviously looked at that and said, aye, we cannot afford to let this happen. You're talking about their preparation, as you would expect, is absolutely meticulous. However, mate, one of the differences, I think, between Palace and Brentford, you're now meeting a side in the top flight that are absolutely got a new boss who's come in and has done just about everything spot on, and they're flying.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's really filled me with confidence. Just finish me off. No, I think it's one way of putting it. But yeah, I mean, the quality of Brentford. I mean, they're going to be an outfit that are just going to come here and, in some ways, they could absolutely destroy us. But the reality of it is they're on form. I mean, look at the way they performed against Arsenal. When you look at like Lewis Potter scoring the goals and the quality of Jordan Henderson plays, you can't. That quality is just exceptional.
Yeah.
We've got people in there that are just great players.
I mean, this cup run, Rob, it's really put Macclesfield on the map, hasn't it? Obviously, the TV exposure is important. The money that brings in is important as well. But I was reading this week, and I know you probably can't say too much about it, that there have been talks going on with overseas investors who want to put their money in as well.
Yeah, there is. We've been approached by all sorts. I think what I've realised with football, it is so expensive to try and move up those leagues. I think they say that you need to be billionaires now. The millionaires have gone from buying clubs, and and that's so true. I think the reality of it is the amount of money that football clubs need, and they don't make money. So I'm looking for the right types of people. So yeah, we've been approached by a couple of really strong investors that have got a vision to take this club, to sort of League One and even maybe Championship. Which is amazing, and to have those kind of phone calls. So fingers crossed that something happens.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, before we let you go, mate, you're probably aware of it, we're doing the draw before the game kicks off. So you're in the hat for the next round regardless what happens. Another home draw, do you?
Do you know what I think? Yeah, I mean, I'd take anything if it happens. Who knows? So I'll take anything, but I'd probably like a City away if possible.
Hey, I'm just thinking, Rob, if it goes well again tonight, are you on the pitch again at the end?
I'm doing cartwheels, and then I've decided it's not Ibiza, it's Vegas.
Brilliant. Hey, look, it's been a brilliant journey so far, Rob. Thanks for joining us. Best of luck tonight, mate.
Enjoy it tonight,
Brilliant. Mate. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Fantastic. It's been a fantastic story, hasn't it?
Of course it has.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that the Mansfield at the weekend at Burnley, that's the kind of stories that keep us going. That's the beauty of the cup, isn't it?
Completely. And I do genuinely believe they've got a chance tonight, because you are absolutely spot on, Coisty. Against Palace, it was no fluke.
No.
It was no
Of course
fluke.
it wasn't.
And those boys must be so confident now. They must have so much self-belief. They've outplayed one Premier League side. Why can't they do it again?
Yep.
We shall see, though. You'll be there. That was the Macclesfield owner, Rob Smethurst, head of talkSPORT's live coverage of Macclesfield against Brentford tonight. By the way, Paul has texted me, he's a Brentford fan, and he said, regarding Macclesfield tonight, we've been advised by Brentford, the last train back to Euston is 10:30. I'm going to the match, so extra time and penalties could be a problem. Ooh. And so I was just working out 7:30 kickoff, isn't it? So
yes.
Normal time would finish about 9:20. And then you would imagine that if it was extra time, that would finish at about 10. The last train actually is 10:36, Paul. I've checked it. The last direct train is 10:36. So you might have to go halfway through a penalty shootout. Can you imagine that? Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarx Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarx.
After the gold rush for Team GB at the Winter Games yesterday, we'll welcome mixed skeleton stars Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker onto the show at just after 9. Plus a massive championship showdown. Coisty mentioned it a few minutes ago. Coventry take on Borough. Top of the table clash. We'll get the inside track from a man who's played for both clubs as George Boateng joins us. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Let's go to Alan, who's a Man City fan. All right, Al.
Yes, good evening. I've got a little song for you at the end for the Arsenal fans as well. But do you know what, Arsenal? Man City are a snake, and they've had their foot on our necks where we've been weak, and they should have cut our heads off and buried us in the sand, and they've not. And now we're going to come back and beat them, and we're going to win this title. And in a couple of weeks after we play them at the Etihad, when we give them a footballing lesson, you can ring me up and I'll come on the show again, because Man City are a better team to watch than what Arsenal are. And he's coming on. The Premier League trophy's coming back to the Etihad. And listening to these Arsenal fans tonight, we are right in there, Ned. All the memories of all the years previous are all coming flooding back. And we're going to win the league. And I'll give you my song now.
Go on in. Is it clean?
Crumbling again, ole, ole. Crumbling again, ole, ole. Crumbling again. Crumbling again. Crumbling again, ole, ole. Can't wait to see that.
All right, Al. Listen, Man City fans are. If they're listening to the show tonight, Man City fans, I think they'll be thinking.
Do you know what it does do, though?
Tell you what,
it gives us. We have got a proper title race.
Yeah,
a proper title race. It's not a bad point for Arsenal. I still don't think Man City are quite the Man City that we've seen win a title.
No, but
they could do. They could.
They look all right. They're looking all right. You know, Diaz, Gay at the back again. O'Reilly, fantastic. Nunez has played all right.
Mate.
Rodri, you know, mate.
I'm not. Look,
you know, they've signed Semenyo, Haaland scoring, Foden. Good morning, 8:49. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist. Time now to take a look back at the weekend Six Nations action with Funding Circle.
Guinness Six Nations review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Tackle your business goals head on with fast, fair and hassle-free finance solutions. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Time for English Rugby Union fans to go make yourself a cup of tea and maybe a slice or two of toast as well, because Scotland toppled England to lift the Calcutta Cup again at the weekend. Many were saying that Gregor Townsend was under pressure after the defeat in Italy prior to the game at Murrayfield this weekend, but it was an impressive 31-20 victory at the end. Couple of tries for Hugh Jones. The first followed a brilliant flick pass from Finn Russell. The second, terrific moment running most of the length of the field after George Ford's blocked drop goal attempt. And I'm delighted to say the man who is now Scotland's top try scorer in the Six Nations, Hugh Jones, is with us live. Morning, Hugh.
Hugh, very good morning, mate. Congratulations.
Morning, guys. Good to see you.
What a day, mate. Listen, fantastic. I watched the whole thing. I was working or I'd been there, mate. It was just, the atmosphere looked unbelievable. But the boys obviously had their backs to the wall after a disappointing performance in Italy. But I tell you what, did you lot come out the traps or what? It was an amazing start.
Yeah, that was something we'd spoken about all week. Like you say, the atmosphere was incredible. Just on arrival at the stadium, the crowd cheering us sort of off the bus into the ground, and it was like that throughout the game. But we've spoken about a fast start, wanting to be kind of aggressive in our mindset, and obviously with our physicality. I think that came out in the first 20 minutes. It kind of gave us that springboard for the rest of the game.
How is it you always seem to pull it out against England, though, Hugh? Why is it always England?
Listen, Hugh, I think that was more of a complaint than a question from him, by the way.
I think for that fixture in particular, there's no extra motivation that we need. I think we just seem to get it right more often than not.
What about? I mean, it seems wrong to pick out individuals, but there was some brilliant individual performances yourself, staying in the wing. But I want to ask you about Finn Russell, man. He just makes things happen, mate, doesn't he? His participation in the opening try, his participation in White's try, he just does some magical things, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a brilliant player to play with. Sometimes you're not sure what he's going to do, but you all have to be ready for anything, really. And yeah, on the day, look, everything he touched turned to gold. He went down the short side for Ben White's try, broke a couple of tackles.
Yeah.
He's pretty slippery. But yeah, he was on good form and big part of our win.
Tell me, mate, I just want to ask you quickly about the second try, right? When it's charged down, when Ford's drop kick attempts charged down, have you had a quick look at who's charged it down and thought to yourself, he's never making it? Tell the truth now.
I'd gambled that someone might charge it down, and as soon as I saw that it was Matt, I thought, yeah, I'm on here because he's not making it. And he started to run away from me, but I screamed loud enough that he saw me and gave me the ball, and I think people stopped chasing after that.
Yeah.
So it was easy running.
Hey, Coisty was in awe of that, Hugh. He's never run that sort of distance, not without breathing apparatus anyway.
Sure.
So, look, I mean, how much of that was for Gregor Townsend then, Hugh? Because obviously under a bit of pressure after the result in Italy, and this was his 100th game in charge. Was any of that in the boys' minds?
I think we were aware of the sort of chatter around that, but it didn't sort of come into any of our motivational speaking, like what we were telling each other. We were very much just focused on the game and on how we wanted to play the game. We are aware that there was, chat going on behind the scenes, but we wanted to, keep our circle tight and sort of focus inward on what we were going to do in the game rather than any outcome that may happen afterwards.
Hugh, tell me about the Six Nations so far. I mean, it's been a brilliant start, got to say. I mean, obviously the Italians' victory against us, and I thought the Italians played heck of a well. I watched the game in Ireland, and I thought they were excellent again. Maybe a little bit unlucky not to take anything in the game, but I think the one outstanding thing that I've watched so far, particularly the opening 45 minutes in Paris against Ireland, the French look, at this moment in time, I think they look a different level.
Yeah, they are. They're looking brilliant. Like a word on the Italians as well. They've been improving over the last few years more and more, and it's now sort of a really competitive tournament where I believe anyone can beat anyone. And I think, you look at France, they're certainly the favourites. 2 big wins in their first 2 games, and I think that you don't really see any weaknesses there. So. That'll be a tough game that we've got in a couple of weeks, but they do look good, don't they?
Yeah. But look, I mean, as arrogant Englishmen, we were already looking at the final fixture of the Six Nations as the decider when France take on England in Paris. But looking at what's happened now, Hugh, I mean, you've got a Wales next, and then you've got the French at Murrayfield. You must think to yourself, you've got a chance of winning the whole thing.
I think we're definitely taking it game by game. So as nice as the England game, like to win that was, that's fully behind us now. We forget about that, and the only focus really is now on Wales, and that's the only thing that matters. So we're not looking ahead. But I think like us beating England may have been hoping to sort of go on and do something special in this championship. But like I said before, anyone can beat anyone. So you have to be on it each week and fully focused.
I tell you what, Hugh, I mean, what a season it could be. You think about it, Glasgow. I mean, I've been along a couple of games. They're absolutely flying as well. Scotland, things are going well. And you know something? I swore this morning I wasn't going to do it. You know, I wasn't going to mention at all that forward pass for Ben Earl's try at the end. Or it'd have been even more convincing, mate.
I didn't see that, so I'm not sure.
But Glasgow, things going well there. I mean, Glasgow boys are flying as well.
Yeah. The great thing with Glasgow, like the boys have been going well all season. It's been really consistent. So we've put ourselves in a good position to compete in both the URC and the Champions Cup. And once we're back in with Glasgow after the Six Nations, it'll be a really exciting time with a lot of rugby still to play.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, look, Hugh, well done at the weekend, you and all your teammates as well. Congratulations. Good luck for the rest of the Six Nations.
Absolutely, mate. Congratulations. Well done. Brilliant.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, and now Scotland's record Six Nations try score. I tell you what, Coisty, I bet he takes some stick from the Scottish boys about his accent in that dressing room, don't you?
Well, not on Saturday, didn't I? Tell you.
Well, they couldn't catch him to give him any stick, could they?
He could speak in any native tongue he wanted to on Saturday.
Yeah. I got a text from Chris. He said, Scotland need to pipe down. I don't think there's a gag in there, not an intentional one anyway. That was our recap of this weekend's Six Nation action with Funding Circle, with the star of the weekend, Hugh Jones, 2 tries in Scotland's convincing win over England. The stars of the weekend keep coming. Team GB gold medalists Tabby Sturcker and Matt Weston are up next.
Guinness Six Nations review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Tackle your business goals head on with fast, fair and hassle-free finance solutions. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Labour MPs, they say, listen, Keir, your position is untenable. This is all about appointing that rat, Peter Mandelson.
We've now had another resignation from number 10. The plot is thickening, the noose is tightening.
His failings are internal. He's useless, incompetent, has no political judgment.
This is all part of Starmer's reset, getting rid of his inner circle. So Chris Wormold, we think fairly reluctantly, has stepped down.
What an absolutely crazy week for Keir Starmer. His second cabinet secretary, gone. His third chief of staff, gone. His fourth director of communications, gone.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark's Real Sale. It's the final day of savings in the UK's biggest used car sales, so don't miss out. Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker coming up very shortly indeed. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget some EFL games at the weekend, by the way. And what about this, Coisty? Michael O'Neill joined Blackburn.
Yes.
He arrived on Friday.
Yep.
They put an interim in charge, if you like. He wasn't having that. He said his place was on the bench, so he was there in the dugout on Saturday at QPR, and they've gone and won 3-1. Would you believe
Brilliant
it?
result for him.
Yeah.
I think he's taken wee Steve Davis from him as well.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
I noticed it. Absolutely terrific result. He's a talented boy, Michael. He really is. And when you surround yourself with people of the quality of Steve Davis, you've got a chance, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Barry Bannon, of course, as well. Story for him in the Championship the weekend. Back to his old club, Sheffield Wednesday, as part of the Millwall side that won there. They're third in the table. 56 points at this stage of the season is their second best total ever at this time. And it's
amazing, eh?
It is, you know, and they could easily be in the Premier League next season.
I've got to say, it's incredible the job's getting done there. I went along the game in the Monday night, and I went along to Millwall to watch them. Can't remember who they're playing. Anyway, they won, but just a great atmosphere within the place as well. I don't think it's without. You're absolutely right. It's not without the realms of possibility they're playing the top flight next season.
Yeah.
I mean, the other EFL stories, Cardiff 4 points clear at the top of League One after their win over Luton. Cracking goal from Perry NG, by the way. Boxing Day hat-trick for... Boxing Day? There was a hat-trick for Reading's Jack Marriott against Wickham. Bit of a derby as well, that. He's got 15 league goals. It's his best season since 2017 to 2018 at Peterborough. But look, all of those guys, their performances have been eclipsed this weekend by what's happened at the Winter Games. Brilliant Sunday as far as GB are concerned. Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker clinching the mixed team skeleton gold, meaning Team GB won 2 gold medals on the same day for the very first time. And, of course, Matt Weston making history of his own, the first Briton to win 2 gold medals at a Winter Olympics. Just a tremendous weekend as far as Team GB are concerned. So without any further ado, I'm delighted to say that both Matt and Tabby join us now. Good morning, guys.
Congratulations, guys. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Yeah. What does it feel like now? You've come down to earth. You've had a bit of time to think about it.
I don't think we've quite come back down to earth yet, to be honest. I think we're still kind of, like up in the sky, flying on cloud 9 and enjoying ourselves.
And so you should. We were talking about earlier on, guys, the coverage has been fantastic. You've obviously got family and friends over there, which is brilliant. They'll be enjoying it. They'll be thrilled for you. However, I'll ask it to you this question. Do you have any idea that in households up and down the country, there's people like myself on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, screaming at the television set? That's the effect you're having on us.
That's just amazing. I think, the Olympic Games is such an amazing chance for the nation to get behind all these athletes competing, and that's made it all the more special for me, having all that support from everybody at home, from everyone who plays the national lottery, and that enables us to do the sport, all our friends and family who've come out to Cortina. It just, it makes the weight of this medal so much more meaningful to me.
Yeah. And Matt, at the end of your run, I saw one of the things you mouthed, I think, was 2 goals. Yeah. When did you realise you'd done it?
I had no idea at the top of the track what I needed to do. I kept my mind pretty clear. I deliberately didn't look at any of the times of anyone who'd gone before me, just to keep my mind clear. And I knew I had a job to do. I knew I had a performance to put down. But as soon as I crossed the finish line, I had my head up looking for my coach and the times and to see what rank it had. And now obviously got 2 of these bad boys. So,
Brilliant. Listen, I was going to ask you, I mean, clearly, Jeff has mentioned that when did you find out at the end of the run? But the start of the run, I watched the start. Tell me, guys, how important is the start? I was watching yourself in particular, Matt, and you seem to get an excellent start. There's obviously somebody behind you screaming and shouting at you. Just how important and how important is your start, and how do you work on it?
Well, to be honest, the start is really, really key because we don't have engines or anything like that. We kind of rely on gravity. And if I can give myself a little bit of an extra boost by pushing off that little bit extra, like harder and faster, then it gives me more of an advantage going down the track. But we train basically full time for that during the summer. We're full-time athletes based at Bath University, and we spend a lot of the time. We basically train as a hybrid between like a weightlifter and a sprinter. The sleds are about 30 to 40 kilos, so they're actually quite heavy. So you need to be pretty strong to get that moving, and then have that sprinting skill over the brow as you're running bent over down a hill head first. It's kind of quite a skill to learn, but we make sure we maximise that during the summer so that when we get to ice, we're one of the fastest nations.
Tabby, I'm sure you've been asked this before. I mean, your first Olympics for a start, which is brilliant. But you were at the National Centre for Circus Arts, studying trapeze, clowning and juggling. How do you go from there to being a gold medalist at the Winter Olympics?
You know what? There's a lot of transferable skills between circus arts and personal art. The adrenaline and the element of kind of overcoming your fears. For flying trapeze, for instance, you have to, be really bold with a lot of the moves that you're making, and I think in skeleton that's very similar. And that spatial awareness, that body awareness, it put me in really good stead. But then, I just saw an advert on Instagram for the UK Sport Talent ID process. and I wasn't sure what I was signing up for, but they did a lot of kind of basic testing to begin with of, you know, how fast you can run, how high you can jump, and then got picked for skeleton, and, you know, eventually they take you out onto ice and you try sport for the first time, and it was just thrilling, and, you know, since then the rest is history.
It's brilliant. You signed up for that thing, it's round your neck, which is absolutely remarkable. Listen, I'm going to ask you too, you look, and so you should be, as if you're having the best time ever out there. Have you had any opportunity at all to see any other events? Because I'm thinking in particular Charlotte and Hugh yesterday as well, which was a fantastic achievement. I watched that as well. We watched that as a family. And I need to tell you, there's heads pop. I'm doing the show from home this morning, and there's heads popping through my doors. Make sure you tell the guys well done. So it's well done from everybody.
No, thank you so much. And yeah, we haven't actually been able to go and see any other sports live yet because we've been concentrating on our own event, making sure we're getting the job done. But we did see that Charlotte and Hugh had won their medal just before we had. So that gave us that little bit of an extra boost to go out there and smash it, really.
I saw, Matt, that you're from Tunbridge Wells. You know, I didn't know that Tunbridge Wells was renowned for its ice, but hey. Look, I mean, you've been around in the sport for a little while now, so I'm sure it sort of comes naturally to you. But when you started, how frightening was it? How scary was it?
The first time you go down, you don't actually go down off the top of the track. You get like kind of set off about halfway down. Your coach kind of lets you off, but you very quickly realise, oh God, I'm just keep accelerating. I've got no brake, and you're hitting walls, and the walls are concrete covered in ice, which isn't notoriously soft. So you do get a few bruises. You get a bit beaten up when you first start, but I instantly had that adrenaline rush, that bug, and I was like, yeah, no, I want more of this.
Wow.
Well, I'm looking at it quick before I let you go. I'm looking at it. I mean, what is it with this particular event? You look at obviously previous Amy and Lizzie. What is it with this event?
I think us Brits are just a bit crazy, to be honest. I think one of our strengths is the fact that we don't actually have a track. I think when you go to an Olympic event, you have a very, very limited amount of runs to go there and make the most of it. And the fact that we don't have a track, we basically practice that everywhere we go. So when it comes to coming to an Olympics and learning it as fast as possible, we're not bad at it.
For sure.
Yeah, look, brilliant. So many congratulations. Was there a big celebration last night, or were you wrapped up in doing the media?
No, we celebrated a little bit. Definitely. We're a bit tired today. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are entitled to be. Tabby, Matt, look, congratulations. We're getting loads of texts in saying the same sort of thing. So proud of Team GB. Unbelievable from the pair of them. So well done.
Well done, guys. Proud of you.
Very much.
Lap it all up, fellas. Lap it all up. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and
brilliant.
The success has been amazing for GB. 3 medals, 3 gold medals. You know, we're not naturals, are we?
Correct.
When it comes to Winter Olympics,
I just think it's remarkable. It really is.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Brilliant. Yeah. Bob in Sussex says, cheeky so-and-so. Bob in Sussex says, hi, Ali. If it takes being a clown to be a great skeleton rider at the Olympics, then Jeff still has a chance for gold. Well, thank you, Bob.
What about you and I and the two-man Bob? There's a thought.
Yeah. Well, we certainly have some weight to push us down that track quickly, wouldn't we? That's for sure. Look, brilliant to have Matt and Tabby on the show. Gold medalists for Team GB. You can watch every moment of the Winter Games Milan Cortina 2026 live on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus right through till Feb 22. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to a huge game in the Championship tonight live on talkSPORT 2. Borough against Coventry with the Borough legend George Boateng with us next.
Thomas Tuchel signing a contract, is it because of the fact that the FA were concerned he was going to go somewhere else?
Listen, I think it is. You know, I certainly think he was on Manchester United's list. Who knows? Maybe he would have been on Tottenham's list as well. And I think that's why they had to get this done, because what you don't want, if you're the FA, and if you're an England fan, you don't want Thomas Tuchel going into the World Cup with constant speculation that he could be leaving for a Premier League club job at the end of the tournament. I think getting that out of the way, he can focus on the job in hand. I don't think England will win the World Cup. I think there's a lot that counts against England winning this World Cup.
What happens if we lose in the quarterfinals? Does he continue as England manager?
I think I don't think we should underestimate if he gets to the quarterfinal of a World Cup. When you go back pre-Gareth Southgate, which is your argument, we'd have bitten your hand off at the quarterfinal of a World Cup.
Are you going to defend me on that?
No, I'll defend you because I think Gareth Southgate should have won a European Championship. I think they should have beaten Italy in that final. However, pre-Gareth Southgate, England didn't get to quarterfinals and finals at European Championships. So I don't, and it's a tough draw, by the way. You talk about draws. I was there when the draw was made in Washington. England have got to take out some big hitters to get to a quarterfinal.
So where does he have to get to keep his job done?
I think the quarterfinal is par. I think anything beyond that is
success. Do you
agree?
The likelihood is that they're going to have to go to Mexico and play Mexico in Mexico City, which is going to be a difficult.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast, very nearly 9:19. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with us. Darren has suggested that we could make up a four-man bob team with Big Al, Gabby, myself and you, Ali.
I'm just thinking about the stopping period more than ever. We could then easily end up at the foot of another mountain. Actually,
I think the second that you push off, you have to be thinking about stopping, mate. You know. Brilliant. Thanks very much indeed, Darren, for that. Time now to take a look at the latest EFL action in partnership with McDonald's.
EFLers on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got big McDonald's hunger? Order delivery on the McDonald's app today. From 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders. Subject to availability. Price may vary.
So tonight sees the Championship's top two meet. It's live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2. And for the first time since early October, it's not Coventry who are top of the pile. They've won just 2 of the last 8 league games, while Middlesbrough won 6 on the bounce under Kim Hellberg, who's absolutely smashing it in English football so far. Let's hear from the two sides' bosses, starting with the Borough manager, Kim Hellberg.
I think it's just fun. I think the players deserve it from how they perform, how they play. I think some of the games we played actually has been unbelievable. I think that they get a lot of the credit they actually deserve from that performance, because it was a Monday night. It was a big game. It was against a team that won 6 and 1 draw and lost 7, I think, and scored goals for fun. And we did that type of performance.
You have to just sometimes applaud 6 wins on the bounce, and even before that they had 4 wins when the manager came in. So it's an incredible run of form, and that's what changes the face of it slightly. We've had our run, and we had a run last season of similar veins, and sometimes you say well done and understand that they're going to be a difficult opponent.
Gather that Frank Lampard is a sort of footballing idol of Kim Hellberg, but any admiration be left to one side. And, 6 on the bounce for Borough, Coisty.
Yeah.
I saw the game away at Sheffield United. And
great game.
Yeah.
I saw the highlights. I think you watched the whole thing. I saw the highlights.
I did. And for me, of the matches I've seen in the Championship this season, that was the best team performance I've seen from any side in that division from Middlesbrough. I thought they were magnificent.
Yeah, I think they've been great. solid all round. You've got to say. I tell you who's done brilliant for him. Luke Ayling's done great for him. I mean, he's been fantastic. With the boys up front, Tommy Conway, I think we had on the show a couple of weeks ago. You know, we always talk about momentum. The momentum that Borough have got at this moment in time with Kim Hilbert coming in, Jeff, they look, you know, if not unstoppable, they certainly look as though they've got some momentum. It's a massive game tonight. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Difficult to call. I mean, I think it's difficult to call. Would you have Middlesbrough just slight favourites at this moment in time,
Yeah,
Jeff?
I would, simply because of the form they're in.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at Coventry, 13 goals in the last 14 games. It's so difficult, isn't it? You hit a spell like you've had so much momentum, and you don't exactly hit a brick wall, but you hit a spell like this where you find it so much harder to score goals. Very difficult to turn round.
Oh, it's amazing, mate. And you're right, because at the start the goals were flying in. And that's the problem. There's been a dramatic drop-off in their goal scoring, because at the start of the season clearly that was anything but a problem. But I just think it's getting to the stage. I mean, it's not getting to the stage where they've got to win, but it's in a bizarre kind of way, Jeff. I think it's a good game for them, because you correctly say form's dipped. They've only won 2 of their last 8. I mean, they'll be looking at it. Frank will be looking at it saying, "Well, there's no way. There's no better way or better opportunity to get back onto the winning track by beating Middlesbrough tonight." It's going to be a great game. But I've got to say, I have been delighted for Coventry and Frank, to be honest with you, Jeff, because I just think of those Coventry fans the last 20, 30 years where they've been and they've been all over the place. You think about it, they've been transferred to different grounds, and it's just been a nightmare for them. So to get that stability and get a team that can go and watch and join again has been a big bonus for them. So it's a good game for them tonight.
Yeah, I get that. And from Middlesbrough's point of view, again, if they were to win this game, 5 points clear at the top.
Yes.
And then 8 to third place Millwall, and they can really start to dream.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, looking at the table, I mean, they're still playing a football, and we know how tough that division is. But if they can put up that gap, as you mentioned, it absolutely puts them in the driving seat with all the momentum.
Yeah, all the momentum. And by the way, you can look at fixtures and you can read things into them, and you may not be right. But Middlesbrough's next 2 games, home to Oxford, home to Leicester. So the real opportunity for them to pile the pressure on the sides who are chasing them.
Massive opportunity. But what's happened to Leicester? I mean, they've fallen off a cliff, haven't they? I mean, it's absolutely. You look at teams that drop down. They're in danger of doing a Leeds. Remember, Leeds went down a couple of seasons, went all the way down. I think Leicester in serious danger of doing that, mate.
Yeah. And I agree, and I'll be honest, Coisty, I sort of expected at the start of the season you get rid of all of your best players, or a lot of your best players, and you are going to struggle. You can take absolutely nothing for granted, that's for sure.
Do you think that's an arrogance and an underestimation of the division, or do you think it's a financial thing? Or maybe a bit of both?
Combination, yeah. Definitely a combination of both. Interestingly, though, you know... you look at Hellberg's taken over, not directly from Michael Carrick, but he's got exactly the same record as Michael Carrick had when he first started at Middlesbrough. Is that right? Yeah, but the difference is that now they have more shots and more goals in them than they did under Michael. I saw a really interesting comment, what I thought was an interesting comment this week, from Alan Brown, who's played for a few managers in his time, who says that he's never played under a better coach in possession than Kim Hellberg. You often hear people say never played under a better coach, but he made the specific distinction of saying in possession.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I'd love him to expand on that. You know what I mean? I'd love to know why he said that.
Yeah. But clearly they're scoring a lot of goals, which, with all due respect, Middlesbrough teams haven't always done that.
No, agreed. Agreed.
Look, it's a massive game. It's live on talkSPORT 2 this evening. I think Borough might just shade it. What do you think, Coisty, if I had to put you on the spot?
Well, you put me on the spot, I'd sit on the fence and give you a draw.
Okay. That preview of Coventry against Borough, it's live on talkSPORT 2 this evening, thanks to McDonald's.
EFLers on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got big McDonald's hunger? Order delivery on the McDonald's app today. From 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders. Subject to availability. Price may vary.
The idea of Big Al, Gabby, you and me in a four-man Bob team has brought a big response. And I would say, Coisty, not all of the responses have been totally flattering.
No, you surprised me.
Chris from Widnes said more like a four-man blob team. And Matt from Hertford says the first ever walking bobsleigh team at the start. You're dead right, mate. Dead right.
Oh, dear.
Quick word about Harry Kane.
Oh, I saw them.
First
You see him
Englishman
again?
to reach 500 professional career goals at the weekend with a couple against Werder Bremen on Saturday. Phenomenal. 26 in 22 Bundesliga games, and it is only February. Do you think, that we will have to wait until Kane retires before we really, really appreciate how good he was?
Well, I don't. I don't have to wait till he retires. Not in the slightest, man. I'm loving him. He's finished. His first one's a penalty. I can't remember anybody taking a penalty where you walk up and you think, he's scoring. And his second one's a beautiful finish off the post. He just curls it outside the post, takes the post and goes in. He's just got all sorts of finishes, Jeff. He's a different level. He really is a different level. And, to combine that with, I actually think you can compare him with guys like perhaps Lewandowski, right? But I actually think Kane's a better footballer. Haaland, you look at his goals, remarkable. Lewandowski, remarkable. Kane, remarkable. But I think if you're a midfield player or even a defender and you want to fire somebody, want somebody to link up or come off, make an angle, I think he's better than most of them at that as well.
Yeah.
I just think he's a top all-round player, mate.
Yeah, I completely concur. He still has his critics. That's the point I was digging at, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can please some of the people some of the time. It's that old one.
Yeah.
But you cannot argue with his statistics in terms of his goal scoring record.
Brilliant.
It's remarkable.
Brilliant. Big Al, a different one, by the way, from Uddington says, good morning, Jeff and Ali. Thought you might have mentioned during the Six Nations segment the momentous achievement made by Aberdeen's Holly Davidson, becoming the first female to referee a Six Nations game. You're absolutely right, Al. We definitely should have mentioned that. She took charge. It was Ireland, Italy, wasn't it? And it was interesting that afterwards, the Italian coach, without being asked during his press conference, he paid tribute to Holly.
Yep.
What a phenomenal achievement. First female to referee.
I watched it. I watched that game as well. I was travelling down to Liverpool, Jeff. I watched both games, and I suppose the biggest compliment you could pay her was you didn't see her. That was the biggest compliment.
That's what you want, isn't it? Yeah.
Correct.
And Hobbo in Nottingham. Just one more quick text here. Says, great show as always. Regarding VAR, I have the answer. Change it to CAR. Coin assistant referee. Before each game, hand the referee a 10p coin. Every decision could be made with a toss of said coin. As VAR costs around £5.4 million a year, at a cost of 38 quid for the 10 pences, hey presto, a saving of £5,399,962 per year. Cheers, guys. Hobbo, brilliant. Thank you very much. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the comments made by James Trafford and whether his move to Man City has been a mistake for everyone involved.
When you walk into Tottenham, what you see everywhere is to dare is to do. It's everywhere. and yet their actions are almost the antithesis of that.
Right.
It's a real curious in terms of understanding what are they trying to build. You know, what are they? Is it? There's obviously they've built an unbelievable stadium, unbelievable training facilities, but when you look at the expenditure, particularly in their wages structure, they're not a big club. I saw that because when we were trying to sign players, we weren't in the market for those players.
I was stunned. I was absolutely. I thought it was disgraceful.
Did you?
I thought, honestly, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. The club have given him £7 million. He's blaming everyone but himself.
No, we've got him a trophy.
Yes, but for his sacking, he's blaming everyone. But when I sat down on the day of the final, Daniel Levy comes up to me and goes, "I've been in 8 semi-finals and final." We all laughed.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's his fault.
I don't want to know that. That should be private.
No.
He's giving you honestly, he didn't blame himself. Did he ever say, "I wasn't that good"?
No. No, but
let me tell you now, if you're listening, Ange, I know you won't, but if you're listening, the reason you were the worst Spurs manager in 50 years.
Most successful in the last 20.
And the reason you got the
Is he the most successful in the last 20?
Yeah, but I've already told you why, right?
No, but is he?
Not in the league, no. All I'm saying is league.
When they look back, though, they'll go, and you were successful.
No, because before him, who's the last manager to win something?
Monday Ramos.
That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a good manager. The last two have been appalling. The last two have been appalling. But let me tell you now, right? The reason he got sacked by Spurs,
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? That seems to be the case with the Super Bowl halftime show. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centerpiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first Super Bowl was held in 1967. Initially, the halftime show was a display purely for the fans in the stadium, with marching bands, dancers, and American patriotism for all to see. And that's what it was for the first few years. Disney had a go with a few questionable displays in the 1980s, but it wasn't until 93 that we got the first glimpse into the future of halftime shows. Michael Jackson's stellar performance gave NFL execs something to think about. A raft of massive names followed, including Diana Ross, U2, Janet Jackson, who gave us the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction of all time. So how many people are involved? To give you an idea of the scale, Rihanna's 2023 performance included 800 people, and experts reckon it cost $13 million. What's even more impressive than some of the names on the bill every year is the fact they do it for free. The artists know the exposure they'll get from doing the show will rocket them up the charts across the world. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
Good morning, 9:34, almost 9:35, in fact, on Monday, February the 16th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. It's the final day of savings in the UK's biggest used car sale. Do not miss out. Now, Ali watched Liverpool cruise into the fifth round of the FA Cup with that 3-0 win over Brighton at Anfield. Goals from Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai and Mo Salah. On the weekend sports breakfast, Tony Cascarino went viral for this comparison of Szoboszlai to one of Liverpool's greatest ever players.
I just feel like he's going to play now. He's got, I think, about 12 goals this year. He's been on a pretty decent run. He's a league winner last year, had a great season. Is Szoboszlai up with a Gerrard standard? I'd love to know what Liverpool fans thought, because I think but him and Gerrard, there ain't a lot in it. I mean, Steven Gerrard at 25, 26 was amazing. He dragged the team, a bit like Szoboszlai has done this season, but Liverpool did win the Champions League in 2005. And look, an outstanding, if not the best ever Liverpool midfielder. But I wondered how close Szoboszlai was to Gerrard. I'd just love to know if there's Liverpool fans out there who would go, do you know what? Or no, he's not, you know. Because I think they're pretty close.
Never mind Liverpool fans out there who say, no, he's not. Yeah, there are some presenters here who said, no, he's not. The thing for me, Coisty, is that he would have to do it over a heck of a lot longer period to ever be compared to Steven Gerrard.
Listen, I've got to say to you, Jeff, I've written down 4 words here. Big Cass, there's a line, then I've put calm down. I've just put calm down after it. Szoboszlai probably has been the pick of the bunch of Liverpool players, perhaps this season.
Yeah, I think he has.
Yeah, I think he's been terrific. You could look at key moments, for example. His goal, a free kick against Arsenal, out of this world. Even his goal in the defeat at home to Manchester City, out of this world. His goal at the weekend was absolutely fabulous, Jeff. It really was, mate. I spoke to you about it. Overlap, Kerkez allows Gakpo to come inside. Switch of play is magnificent. One touch from Salah, the hit. It was just a beautiful goal. Excuse me, scored by a great player. But, you know, when you're talking about Steven Gerrard, you're talking about one of the best. There's a difference. Yeah. You know, Szoboszlai is an excellent player and doing well at this moment in time. But the fella we're talking about has done it over a period. You know, at Liverpool, it was just remarkable what he achieved. He was there the best part, I don't know, 16, 17 seasons. And I'll tell you right now, you know, you could see him. You look at players, and there's only a handful of players that I could name you, Jeff, that you can look at guys and they can just grab a game by the scruff of the neck and turn it individually for their team. Gerrard did that, and I think on numerous occasions, none more so in one of the most dramatic one of the most dramatic games I've ever seen, never mind European finals. So, Szoboszlai I think he's a very good player, but I think the comparison at this early stage is way off.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, obviously, we know that European Cup final, but he's got an FA Cup final named after him as well, the Gerrard final, you know, because individually he has turned that final. Szoboszlai, for me, definitely their best player this season, but he's got a distance to go before he's mentioned in the same breath as Steven Gerrard. Murphy's text has said Szoboszlai is carrying the team and showing characteristics similar to Gerrard. Understand completely where Cass is coming from. And I get that, you're right. He is, I wouldn't say he's carrying the team, but he's certainly a major influence on the team. Yes. He is showing characteristics similar to Gerrard, but he has a distance to go to reach the standards on a consistent basis, and I mean season after season after season, by the way, not just game after game, to be compared to Steven Gerrard, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Man City backup goalkeeper James Trafford says he was surprised when Gianluigi Donnarumma was signed from PSG on deadline day. He started the first 3 Premier League games of the season, did James Trafford, but since then he's only featured in cup competitions. And he said, I didn't expect it. It happened. I just get on with it, keep working hard and play when I can. Must have been a body blow as far as he was concerned.
Yes.
You know, because he's come there to play Premier League football. And not only is he not playing Premier League football, but the chances are that he won't be going to the World Cup with England either.
Yep.
Because of City's decision to sign Donnarumma.
Correct. And I understand the decision to sign Donnarumma. And I think, as much as I like James Trafford, and I do think he's a good goalkeeper, there's no getting away from it, I think to have any chance at all, and it might be too late to get to the World Cup, he's going to have to leave Manchester City. He would have to have left Manchester City, because Donnarumma will play. And so he should, because Donnarumma, I think, has been absolutely fantastic. I think he's a tremendous goalkeeper. Big shoes to fill. He was filling the shoes bizarrely, and you'll know what I mean by bizarrely, of a goalkeeper who might have been the best with his feet I've ever seen. Right, which is, you know, it's not the first thing you look for when you're signing a goalkeeper, but he was absolutely different class with his feet, the previous goalkeeper. But Donnarumma's come in there and he's made some absolutely outstanding stops, none more so than the deflected one at Anfield the other week. Yeah. So I understand James Trafford's position, Jeff. I think it's a tough tough position for him in terms of what he's going to do. But, you know, I think it's what he said. He's just going to have to go on with it. To use his words, go on with it, keep working hard and play when he can. But unless there's an injury, which nobody would want to see on Donnarumma, I think that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future. And so it should be, because I think Donnarumma's one of the best goalkeepers around.
Yeah, tough when you're a goalkeeper, of course. It's a very different position to any other position within the squad. You know, you're not going to be brought on during the course of a game. You're going to be sitting there warming the bench week in and week out. And that's the case, I'm afraid, as far as James Trafford is concerned. Though he has played those 3 Premier League games, of course. He has actually played in the Champions League as well, along with
right.
the League Cup and the FA Cup. Josh has texted in saying, Cass, calm down, drink some more coffee before starting that early morning show. If Cass thinks Szoboszlai is up there with Gerrard, does that mean he thinks Szoboszlai is now one of the greatest Premier League midfielders of all time? Which is a very good way of putting it indeed, Josh, because that is where Steven Gerrard was, no question about it. Right, England taking on Italy in the cricket T20 World Cup. England have won the toss. They are batting. They've not made the ideal start, though. Watching for talkSPORT is John Norman. Morning, John.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. Joss Buttler's been and gone. He's not had a terrific run of form of late. England's best ever white ball batter, but he's gone first ball. Stewart with the wicket. He's been caught at mid-off, trying to go down the ground, and he got plenty of elevation, but not the distance. At the other end, though, Phil Salt, who recognised now as one of the premier T20 batters in world cricket, is getting on with things. He's hit 18 from just 9 deliveries, a 6 and 2 fours. England choosing to bat first, which goes against their template, which has worked pretty well for them over the last year or so. Up against Italy, and England in the third over, 25 for 1.
25 for 1 against Italy. Of course, this is England's chance to qualify for the Super 8 in this T20 World Cup. Sam, the Liverpool fan, says, as far as Szoboszlai is concerned, it can't be season after season if we don't tie him down soon. Needs a new contract ASAP. And I'm sure the powers that be will be working on that. We talked about the talkSPORT 4-man Bob team, the dream team, you know, Big Al and Gabby and me and Coisty. Nick says, just wondering what you lads would be using for a sled. Surely your only option is to chop the wings off the jumbo jet. Thank you very much indeed for that, Nick. I don't need Coisty and I. We're the featherweights in the team.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Exactly.
And back to James Trafford. Ryan says he can't really moan when the best goalie in the world is in the net. So I think that's a fair point. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to James Trafford during the course of the summer. 9:44 coming up. We'll ask Ali whether players in modern football need a reality check. We'll discuss that next.
Arsenal all his life, and I just want to say that I fear for Arsenal again because I genuinely believe that Mikel Arteta's sets out his team not to lose. Not to lose. Whereas Man City set out to win. And I don't know how you win something by setting out not to lose. And this is a problem we have every year. We get towards the end, and he thinks that by not losing, getting a draw, we'll be all right. But every time you draw now and the other team wins, you drop 2 points in the Premier League.
Yep.
And so he's got a tried and tested method of failing. And if my reasons for believing that are, first of all, I've never believed he's going to get us over the line after his first full season. If you look back, I believe there was a moment. There was 8 games left to play. Arsenal were in 4th place. We were 5 points clear of the team in 5th, and we had a game in hand, and we still managed to finish 5th. And every season since then has been the same.
That was when you went to Newcastle and lost, wasn't it? I mean, I think he's got a great point because you compare. We were there, Sam, for both games. You compare Manchester City's performance at Anfield to Arsenal's performance at Anfield earlier in the season. Mikel Arteta went there to not get beaten. Pep Guardiola went to Anfield at the weekend, even at 1-0 down,
Slightly different,
to try and win the game.
Manchester City are in a situation now where they have to win almost every game. They have to attack it, whereas Mikel Arteta has come up with a strategy where he's plotting his way through the course of the
I think
season
it's risky,
strategically.
and I think if they don't win it,
it's
it will be on the
low-risk
manager gaps.
approach in terms of the fact that he's trying not to play gambling football, but it could be one that backfires.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me, 9:48. Let's finish with a bit of this.
Ask me. Here's Ally McCoist. Oh, he's done it! Ally McCoist for Rangers.
Are you winding me up?
No, I'm deadly serious. You know where the creator of the Rubik's Cube came from? Came from Czechoslovakia. So there you are, have some of that.
You need to introduce me to this Tinder. Is it dangerous? You're a pair of numpties, so you are.
Let's be having ya! Let's be having you!
Oh, gee, was I?
You were only supposed to blow up the bloody doors.
What's that?
Yeah, I've nailed it, man. I've nailed it.
Yeah, that time of the morning when we turn our attentions to Alia the business. I just want to start on Ivan Tony Coisty, who's been talking today. He says his dream is to play at the World Cup for England, and this World Cup could be his last chance. He scored 30 goals in all competitions in Saudi last season for Al Ahly. He says, all I can do is to keep scoring goals. Would that be enough to get him an England place?
Sadly, I don't think so. We can argue about the merits of it. We can discuss whether it's right or wrong. But I don't think, and no matter how many goals he scores, I don't think he'll come into his plans, Jeff. It's just it's kind of, it is a kind of little bit out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
As I say, we can argue about the rights and wrongs of it, but I just think that's the case. That is my opinion. I think there are 3 or 4 players above him, in the pecking order. You know, whether it's Welbeck, who I was staggered we didn't see at the weekend, Tammy Abraham, Ollie Watkins, all these guys, I think, are ahead of him.
Yeah. I think that's something that you have to be aware of when you choose to play football in somewhere like Saudi.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, the only person that can answer that question is Thomas Tuchel.
Of course.
And he would give it the party line. I don't think there's any doubt he'd give it the party line. Oh, I'm not ruling him out, blah, blah, blah. However, I think he has it. I think he is.
I think he's only had one sort of bit part appearance so far under Thomas Tuchel. So I think that makes the manager's stance pretty clear.
Yep.
So moving on, Chelsea beat Hull 4-0 away on Friday night, thanks in large part to a Pedro Neto hat-trick. Brilliant result for them. But Chelsea players getting a bit of stick online through apparently snubbing Hull City mascots on arrival. Now, you'll be able to see this if you're watching on YouTube or your smart TV. There you can see the mascots in the background there, all standing to attention. And the Chelsea players do not bat an eyelid, walk straight past. It's not a good look, is it?
No, it's
Do
not.
they need reminding
Never mind not a
that
good
they
look,
have
Jeff.
some responsibility?
Yes. Never mind not a good look. It's not good. Never mind not a good look. One of the best I've seen at it is Jack Grealish, right? Jack Grealish, to me, plays the game with a smile on his face. He looks as though he's very, very thankful of the opportunity that has been given to him to play football. And I just think he's brilliant. And I don't know, I'm not watching him all the time. But any time I see him arriving at grounds, he's always got a word for whoever that is, the guy at the front door, the kids waiting to see them. And it costs nothing.
Yeah.
It costs absolutely nothing. And it's amazing. You maybe underestimate how much it means to people, those kids, for sitting there. Imagine the kid in the playground, so-and-so come up and said hello to me, he patted me on the head. I'm loath to use the word wee things like that, because those wee things are actually big things in the grand scheme of things, Jeff. And that is not a good look at all. I mean, what does it take to come out your way and walk and give the kids a wee high five on the way through, or how are you getting on, you're looking forward to it, blah, 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 who's your favourite? I don't know, anything. It's not a good look, mate.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video a couple of weeks ago now, and I'm pretty sure it was St James's Park, and there was a little girl who'd been part of the mascots for one of the games, and she was left standing on her own in the centre circle, and honestly, it was heartbreaking stuff. So I'm sure it wasn't the player's intention. No. Of course it wasn't the player's intention.
And I get it, the players are focused on the game, they've got a job to do. We understand that, we'll get it. But as you correctly said, it does not look good. It's not a good image. And by the way, Chelsea have been probably a little bit unfortunate, because it's just them that we're talking about this weekend and the Friday night. As you say, there'll no doubt there'll been other instances. At the same time, there will be thousands of examples of players and management going up to kids and going up to mascots and all that stuff, doing the right thing. So it's not a good look, and it's a bit unfortunate it happened.
And you know what? People sitting at home, they watch things like that. They watch when the teams are coming out. Of course they do. Which players look after the mascot who's with them, which players put their arm around them, which players might have just a little word with them
100%.
When they're on the way out, and which blank them completely.
Because
I remember
we all like to see the human touch, don't we?
Of course. My kids, when they were very young, were mascots at Southampton, and Klaus Lundekvam was the captain then, and he looked after them so well.
Jeff,
and you appreciate that so much.
Jeff, I remember as a kid, the late Bobby McKean, who played the Rangers, tragically taken too early. I remember coming up to a training session, patting a few heads. I was maybe 7 or 8 years of age. I remember waiting outside at St Mirren Park. Liverpool were up, and I remember Jimmy Case coming out and taking the time to come and sign my autograph book.
Yeah.
You don't forget things like that.
No, you don't. And you don't forget the ones who don't sign your autograph book.
Yeah.
On to League One now. Plymouth Argyle were up to a 4-0 win away at Blackpool. Their first goal came from close range, and I mean close range, from Alex Mitchell. It's fair to say that after the game, Mitchell had a bit of fun, bigging up his goal to in-house Pilgrims Media.
Yes, it's obviously very positive, all-round performance. I've obviously scored an absolute banger, to be fair. It's stanch, 30 yards, brilliant strike off the volley. So, yeah, I can't do much more, to be fair.
We probably won't have had a stoppage time like that all season. We could have gone in 1-0 at half-time. We actually went in 3. It was really important when we scored those 2 goals. Did it change the dynamic at half-time, knowing we were that far in front?
Yeah, it's nice to go 3 goals ahead rather than 1. Obviously, the last couple of weeks when we go 1-0 up, we get a bit shaky, and I think we've eradicated that today. Yeah, obviously my strike helps us again. The calibre of the goal, the finish, obviously it's a frightening goal, so obviously probably putting fear into the team, so I'll probably just got to do it on Tuesday.
Brilliant. He delivers it with such a straight face.
So he does. Jeff, that's the beauty of it. Do you know what I mean? If you hadn't seen the game, or indeed had seen the goal, you'd have been thinking to yourself, well, he's got a big hit for himself. However, I'm going to watch this goal because it must be...
you'd be trying to find it.
It must be some goal.
Yeah.
Well, I can assure you, it won't be featured in the goal of the season competition at the end of the season, but it counted.
Yeah. Isn't it brilliant to see somebody who doesn't take themselves too seriously, who has a sense of humour, you know, and that comes over fantastically.
It's a complete flip side of what we were talking about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You're talking about somebody that's endearing themselves to the general public watching that, clearly not taking themselves too seriously, having a laugh, and it's magic. And you and I are smiling about it, and we'll have a good giggle about it, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Couple of texts to finish with about mascots, basically. Jay says, boys, Bruno Guimaraes is a shining example of how to act around mascots. And he sort of points the finger a bit at Kieran Trippier for the little girl who I mentioned. And I really don't know if that was the case or not, so I wouldn't want to pile on there. But great to mention Bruno Guimaraes. And Harvey, the Fulham fan, will finish with this one, Coisty. Hi, boys. My youngest boy was a mascot maybe 5 times during his childhood, and your very own Danny Murphy was absolutely brilliant with him. So much so, at the end of the game up at Anfield, I believe it was Danny's last ever appearance in a competitive match. After the game, he came over to the Fulham fans, had a word with the chief steward that were looking after us there, pointed at my son and gave him his shirt. He is a real gentleman, and he always knew how to look after the mascots.
No surprise there.
No
Danny.
Surprise, but
No
great
surprise
to hear
all.
as well. Coisty, have a great night tonight.
I will do, mate. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Make sure you pull out a plum draw for Nigel Clough and Mansfield, okay?
Certainly do my best.
Yeah. And I'd love to know how Martin Keown was with mascots. Maybe we'll find out in a couple of minutes' time, because he's along very shortly indeed with Jim and Simon. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.
The irony is, I think Arteta is one of the best managers to grace the Premier League for a long time. I think if anyone can, and I just think we just need to play.
Sorry, say that again. What did you say? Just